Greetings, folks. This is Jim. I use he, him pronouns, and today we are playing this month's third. This one, or third? One of three. It is where we're playing one of three one shots of Don't Rest Your Head. That is how we're kicking off October. It's a game about superpowered insomniacs and their nightmares. It was created by Fred Hicks of Evil Hat Productions, Whence Fate Comes. I'm going to go around and ask folks to say who they are and who they are playing. I'm going to start with Chris. Hello.
Hello, I am playing Sam Anderson, and my concept is the reason why I have insomnia, or what are you looking for?
It can be pretty much, you can just say a little bit about, why can't your character sleep?
Okay. My character was a soldier in the army in Iraq, and the Humvee in front of her exploded with most of her squad dying. So she's since then had medical discharge and is now in college using a GI Bill, and reason for nightmares is that.
All right. And let's move over to Lo. Hello.
Why, hello there. I'm Drew, or Lokio. I use they, them pronouns. I will be playing Simon today. He is a late-night radio DJ at said community college. And the reason he cannot sleep is too much coffee. What started as a normal sleeping patterns of being a late-night DJ slowly devolved into him sleeping less and less. Picking up a job in the mornings as a barista at the university cafe. And eventually he lost the ability to sleep altogether.
Nice. All right. And finally, James. Hello.
Hello, I'm James, or Jimbo. Use he, him pronouns. I am playing Jin Peters. Jin is a college student who is in way over her head when it comes to the academics, and hasn't been sleeping because, you need to keep studying, you need to keep up with your work, and you need to make sure that all those tests come in, and you just have to keep studying. You can't close your eyes for a minute, because really, if you do that, they're going to figure out you're a fraud, and you're going to get kicked out of school.
Exactly. Sadly, there's a lot of reality in that. Awesome. Okay. So it's been a few years since I have run Don't Rest Your Head, but we're going to give it a go. One of the elements of this is that it's very much about the idea that your characters have been awake long enough that they've started being able to see the nightmares even while they're awake, and the nightmares can also see them. And so that can be a bit of a problem. They also now have access to the Mad City, where the nightmares live. And we're gonna just sort of workshop here a little bit, sort of things with our characters, sort of figure out how your characters know each other. And we're gonna go from there. Before we do that, though, I just want to make sure I talk about with you folks about tools that we're going to be using in chat, in video chat, in case they are needed. This is a horror game. It is about nightmares, and so just in case, I am going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. Pretty much, the X card is for anyone who's not familiar. Just basically, if I hit on something, if anyone hits on something, and it's something, it's a potential trigger issue for you, then you can just put an X in the Zoom chat, and then we'll know to essentially stop, back up, and we'll do something else instead of whatever it was that we did, and just move on.
Quick question: is my concept going to bother anybody in this group? Anybody with filter? Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
I think we're good. But yeah, no, it's good to. Then also we have the N card, which is essentially more of a thing that you'd like us to fade to black on. Is when you use that. You just type an N in the Zoom chat, and that's pretty much just a question of, it's the sort of thing where it's like you're okay with being in the game, you just don't want us to go into detail. And so it's we put a veil over it and fade to black. The go card is more of a thing where it's like I am role playing as though I am very afraid or very angry or weeping, but in fact it's fine. I'm enjoying this. Please hurt me more. It's sort of like, are you okay? Yeah, no, it's fine. And the way that I'm more likely to use it, though, is if I do something and then afterward I think, well, I know that was a bit rough, and I might put an O and a question mark in the chat, and then that'll be just sort of like, everybody okay? And just to check in, and you can respond and you can make sure that everything's fine. And so we'll just be doing that so that the objective here is to have a good time and not to actually traumatize anyone. The characters are supposed to have a horrifying time. The players are not. So
along those lines, can I ask a favor then?
Mm-hmm.
Can we avoid such a matter of like rape and sexual assault? It's not a good time for that right now.
Totally understood. I'm perfectly fine with that, and I think I would probably want to draw that line anyway, especially right now.
Yeah, that's why particularly right now I'm. Yeah.
No, totally understand.
Thank you.
We do this to escape. We do not do.
Yes.
So moving to the characters here, and just sort of looking around. Let me put on slightly different weird music so that I can have a thing in the background.
Ooh.
There we go. Let's take a look here. So we're going to go over the questions with folks, and just anything that we're because I'd like to get that out also. We talked with everyone about what's keeping you awake. That's the first question. And I want to get through the other questions as well, just so that those are interested in see if we've got answers to those. And hopefully this will give me ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep the same order right now. I suddenly tried to change it up because of capriciousness. But we'll start with Sam. The next question is what just happened to you, which means there is something that happened recently that sort of set off, sort of kind of pushed you over the edge a little bit, that is now sort of why you're able to see the nightmares. And
the university had a firework display, and the firework display was probably too triggering to my character.
All right, that's understandable. I actually want to talk to that, and everyone can kind of. Let me write this down. We're going to need to figure out about this university in a little bit. Okay, and let's just go around on each one. For Simon, what happened recently that sort of put you into that zone where you were awake?
The nightmares started calling into my show, Midnight Zero. And it was originally like a weird call, and then they've gotten stranger and stranger.
I love this.
And it's haunting.
Excellent. That's very cool. That's delightful. I love that. So yeah, you've been hearing from. You've been hearing from. You apparently had someone. One of the more recent calls was just a guy who just sort of very, very, very quietly said, "Please hold for the Wax King," and then this weird voice just came on, and all he said was. All he said was, "They're coming. I would move if I were you." And this was toward the end of the show, and you were about to leave anyway. And that's all he said. And
Do the listeners of the show hear that call?
Well, it depends, right? I would say that the next day there were probably some. or if we're at the next day, which we'll figure out as we go. Probably there may have been some calls, some complaints about saying about whatever it was that. Yeah, how would Simon have reacted to that last call?
It's a very like chill jazz show, so probably would have tried to play off. Oh, let's all move on to the next track, which is, of course, the David Brubaker Collective, with the classic 1967 track, blah 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 blah.
I love that.
But he was pretty freaked out.
Yeah, and that wasn't the only call that there probably were other nightmares that also called in over the course of that show, and possibly earlier ones. I feel
I'm just wondering, like, if we're at the university, would we have heard that? Because if we all have insomnia, we might listen to the university radio.
That's entirely possible, yes. And especially, if you know him, then if you know Simon, then it's going to be one of those things where it's like, what's the... Yeah, you all, if you had been listening, you would have heard the voice, definitely.
Okay.
And so probably the next morning... there were probably some complaints, a few complaints. It's a late night show, so probably not too many complaints, but a couple of complaints probably. It's like, the last caller there was no sound on the last caller, and but probably not much. And they were like, you got to get these phone issues. He keeps talking to people that aren't that we can't hear, because it's happened more than once. And then a couple people, like one or two, might have gone, hey, the last caller was really creepy. I don't know what that was about. We maybe got one message about that. So it's a mixed bag. Then finally, on the what just happened to you, let's go to Jin. Jin, what recent event happened that sort of pushed you into being awake?
Well, this just happened like a few hours ago. This was last night. I was up, trying to get ready for biology, and I was reading, and the dorm room across the hall, they were playing music really loud, and it kept breaking my concentration. And at first I went over and I just kind of knocked on the door and put a post-it note on their door asking them to quiet down, and I went back and they wouldn't quiet down, and I finally just went over and I pounded on the door really, really loud. I could hear that they had a lot of people in there. There was a lot of music, and I pounded on the door really loud, and the door swung open, and the music stopped, and the noises stopped, and there was nothing in the dorm room. I mean, like, not even furniture. Yeah, that has me a little weirded out.
Interesting. Okay. Very cool. So moving around, the next question is, what's on the surface? This is the version of you that everybody sees, and is going to be kind of what people, when they get first impressions of you, what folks would imagine. And that can include your physical description as well, if you wish. And so back around to Chris. So what is Sam? What do people see of Sam on the surface?
Brown hair, brown eyes, pretty normal looking. Not too attractive, not too ugly. Just, I would say, very average looking. Dresses neat, and on the surface, people would probably describe me as very calm and collected. Maybe a little aloof from people. Doesn't really want to engage with others very much, but does her work for school, and but sort of quiet and aloof at the same time, very calm and collected.
Okay. And back around to Simon. What do people see on the surface with Simon?
Simon is definitely a middle-class guy trying to pretend he's fancy, fancy radio man, millionaire, with, suit coats and nice clothes. And then, he has to go from that to working in a cafe, apron and coffee-stained clothes. So generally he just comes off as like some sort of weird hipster. But he's a very kind individual that everyone, just from the tone of his voice and his interest, like, he's the kind of guy you would ask to buy weed from.
Fantastic.
Nice. Awesome. Have people asked to buy weed from him? And
They've called into the show, and they've asked him while he was working at the shop.
And I think the follow-up question is, does he have any weed?
Not have any weed right now.
Can you get them weed?
Probably can get some weed.
I mean, he runs a jazz show, for Christ's
Oh,
sake.
yeah.
A weed.
It's kind of, it's almost impossible to avoid, I would say. And finally, what... I love this so much. What do people see on the surface with Jin?
Jin is almost, appearance-wise, almost classic eclectic nerd. Always has, like, some type of fandom shirt that she's wearing, pins from various types of fandom. Physically, she seems really kind of scattered and jittery. She does, in fact, have trouble focusing a lot of the time.
Okay. All right. And let's go ahead then and move to the next question, is what lies beneath. And so we know what we see with Sam on the exterior, very just sort of very staid, very, just seems to just be quiet, very about her business. But what lies beneath with Sam?
Fear of losing people around her, and almost a frantic, I must do everything I possibly can because I shouldn't be alive.
And what lies beneath with Simon?
Simon, you kind of get a taste of it through the radio show, but Simon is actually much more of a musical prodigy than he lets on. He's been composing since he was 14, and his parents dissuaded him from going off and writing music, and wanted him to get like an accounting degree. But he's been making music on the side, and he's pretty good at it. He goes by Maxfield Stanton for his producer name.
Ooh.
Maxfield Stanton.
That is a good name.
Good Lord. That's awesome. Okay. Maxfield Stanton, the producer. So is that just to be clear, is that the DJ name, or is all?
Yeah, that's the name he releases his music through.
Maxfield Stanton. I mean, when he releases the music, it's under Maxfield Stanton. Does he host the radio show as Maxfield Stanton, or is he hosted as Simon?
I think the music stuff is just completely aside, because I think that's part of him. He's trying to compartmentalize away.
Okay.
So I think he's Simon when he's working.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. And finally, for Jin, what lies beneath?
Jin is obsessed with the fact that she's really not good enough to be where she is. So she plans everything out meticulously, in an almost manipulative sort of way. She wants to make sure that no one figures out that the university is not the place for her. And she fears that, and she will do everything in her power to distract people from her work. She occasionally plagiarizes if she thinks she can get away with it. When it comes to making sure that people don't see what a loser she believes herself to be, she's willing to cross various lines for it.
Excellent. Okay. That's very cool. So the last question, possibly the most important one, is what is your path? This is your character's goals, and it will tell us how a story could end, how it would reach its conclusion, where you're headed, and sort of what is the book of your life like, basically. And so that tells us more than anything else your character's personal journeys. And so once again, going back around to Sam, have you sorted out for us what your path is for your character?
I think her goal is to get a degree in accounting because it sounds like the least dangerous job there is, and if she could find a place of quietness where everything's quiet.
Interesting. Okay. And then for Simon, what is Simon's path?
Simon's gonna be famous. Simon is gonna make it big. But Simon's gonna, once he's, rich and famous, he's gonna use his accounting degree to open up shops and bring music to the youth and, give back to the community and make sure that underprivileged kids have the ability to pursue the arts with things like scholarships and like community centers.
Okay. Cool. And then finally with Jin, do you, James figured out what Jin's path might be?
I'm not 100% sure yet, because part of it is her trying to prove to herself that she does belong, but the problem is she only can see that through the eyes of other people. I mean, the best thing would be if she figured out, that she can accept herself. But on the surface, it's she needs other people to accept her.
Okay, so I think maybe her path, it's a path to acceptance by herself and others, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's just, maybe. It's exactly what he just told you, Jim. But you're just repeating what he said. Okay, yeah, so that's... so it's slightly more ephemeral, but that's still just as valid, especially in a game like this, where what you're looking for more than anything is just sort of a universal, almost acceptance, I would say.
Yeah.
Because and it seems to me that she's so terrified of that not happening that. Of lack of acceptance, which I guess she sees everywhere. That's what drives her to cheat, plagiarize, that kind of thing. If she feels.
Yes. Oh yes, absolutely.
So it focuses a lot then for her on grades and getting that done. What is her major?
That's a good question. I think she's a history major.
Okay. Cool. All right. So now we've got the basic questions answered here. How are we on the... Let me go in and look at the character sheets. I'm going to probably need to explain certain basic things of the rules for anyone who might be watching, either now or later. And so let's see. How did we do on the filling out everything else on the sheets? Do we have everything filled out, or is there anything you need help with?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the abilities and attributes and abilities, what you want from me in there.
Okay, sure, no problem. So we're using Roll20 right now, and in Roll20, I've got under the attributes and abilities tab, you've got a fight or flight response, and also places to put your permanent exhaustion and permanent madness when those come up. Right now, those are going to be 0. But they might change over the course of this game. The fight or flight response, you get essentially 3 3 points, basically, you can distribute amongst fight and flight. So you could have 1 in fight and a 2 in flight, a 2 in fight and a 1 in flight, or you could have 3 in fight or 3 in flight and nothing in the other one. And that basically tells us about your basic response to when things get incredibly tense. Your fight or flight response. Are you more fight or are you more flight, basically? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so you would put under the in the Roll20 sheet, you could put like under. So let's say, for example, you're playing someone. Your character. Do you think your character is being ex-military? Do you think that she's more?
I'm putting 3 in fight.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable to assume. So yeah, basically 3 in fight, 0 in flight is what you would have.
Mm-hmm.
And so anytime, and this usually is, I believe, when it's been a little while since I run this, so I'm using reference sheets here. But I believe when madness dominates, then you check off which we'll get into what dominating things when we get into the various rules. But you check off a box that one of the boxes. Sorry, on the original characters you can check off a box, but you essentially take one of those, reduce one of those down, the temporary score. Because it's right now what you're setting is your permanent score as well.
Okay.
So it's a permanent of 3, temporary of 3.
Okay.
And you check off response and you behave accordingly, and madness dominates the situation as a result of a roll. A role that you're involved in, basically. So that's pretty much how that goes. What did everybody else do for a fight and flight?
I took 1 in fight, 2 in flight.
I took 0 in fight and 3 in flight.
Excellent. I love this. It was the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum here.
There will be some flying and some fighting in this
yes,
game.
I feel that is going to be the case. All right. So let's see. Next on the sheet as we're going through everything here. Let's see. Once again, attempts to pull up the appropriate screen. Here we go. We have under the abilities. I put in there just sort of macros that you can just basically press the button and roll an ability. And so your discipline should be fine for right now. I've set that to 3. Everyone starts with a discipline of 3. And that's actually as one of the awakened, your discipline is actually greater than what an ordinary person's would be. They usually only have 1 or 2. And that means that's your control over yourself and your situation. And so that's already set. Now, Chris, was it the how to edit thing in there? Have you got? Was that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So everyone's discipline is starting at 3 right now. Everyone's exhaustion right now is going to be 0. So one dot. They usually say, I'm remembering something now. But let's keep going. Something I'm remembering is that for one-shots, they usually say to start someone at a higher exhaustion than 0. I have just remembered that. Because of the timing involved. So, let's see. Let us start everyone, in fact, at 2 exhaustion. So what you're going to want to do is go in, you click the pencil, and just change where there's a 0 in there, change that to a 2. And then click the check mark.
And this is just the macro exhaustion, not the permanent exhaustion.
Yes. Right now, at the moment, well, actually, let me see. The permanent exhaustion is, your permanent exhaustion I think is also going to be 2 right now because of that goes with every roll at this point.
So current should be 2 on exhaustion, permanent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone is tired right now. And This is again. It's because we only have 2 or 3 hours. So that's 2 hours at this point. Yay! So that's what we're. We need to get some people crashing. Now, Madness, you don't have to do anything. You just, when you press the button, it'll ask you how many dice you want to roll, and that's how many Madness dice. Whenever you bring your Madness talent in, then you get to choose however many dice you want to roll. But sometimes I may require you to roll a certain number of the dice, depending on what you want to do with your Madness talent. You also can bring in your Madness dice for pretty much anything else. You don't have to be using your Madness talent to be using Madness dice, because we like downward spirals in this game. So that's pretty much. But yeah, permanent Madness is 0 right now for everyone. Let's actually go over your exhaustion and Madness talents real quick, so that we can know what those are. As a result of not sleeping for quite a long time, you've suddenly gained these supernatural abilities that one comes from your exhaustion, the other comes from the Madness. We're going to go around again. I'm actually going to start, let's reverse. I'm going to start with Jin this time. And I want to ask what, now the exhaustion talent is something that is not supernatural necessarily. It's just something that you're really good at, that you're now incredibly better at than most people. So what is your exhaustion talent?
Jin's good at lying. She lies really well, really convincingly.
Excellent, cool. That is very good. Like this. And yeah, so anytime you're making use of your exhaustion talent, then you're going to be rolling exhaustion dice. But, well, you've already got exhaustion dice, so you're going to be rolling that anyway.
Huzzah.
Yes. Anytime you're rolling for something at this point, you're rolling exhaustion dice. There's also a difference between whether you do a minor use of it or a major use of it, and that's a very specific distinction we'll get into when we actually start using talents, and we'll talk about that when we get there. For Sam, what is your exhaustion talent?
Sam has what was a very good memory has slowly become like a photographic memory, especially when it comes for things like sounds and faces.
Okay. That's for Simon?
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. I
am also having exhaustion dice.
I went the wrong way. No worries. And so I'm sorry. And one more time. I'm sorry. So because my brain was going clockwise for some reason instead of counterclockwise. One more time. What's your exhaustion talent?
I'm really good at remembering things.
Excellent. Good. I'm not, apparently. Excellent. Good memory. Excellent. And then finally, for Sam, what is Sam's exhaustion talent?
Hand-to-hand combat, and because she hasn't been sleeping, she tends to work out at night, so she's in really good physical condition.
Excellent. Cool. All right. Now, you also have Madness talents. These are things that you've suddenly found able to do that pretty much can be anything. These are things that are scalable in some ways, because using the Madness, tapping into the Madness too much turns you into a nightmare. So if you do end up becoming a nightmare, it'll probably be something to do with whatever your Madness talent is. And so this is basically just some supernatural ability or other. So starting again with Jin, what is your Madness talent?
Okay, so you know how I mentioned that, last night I went and I knocked on the door and I put that Post-it note up, and I'm finding that, like, when I put Post-it notes on things, either I tend to write things that happen to be true, like if I put a Post-it note on someone's phone, I'll end up writing their phone number on it, so now I know what their phone number is. Or if things get really bad, sometimes I can write Post-it notes that when I stick them on something, it makes it true.
Interesting. Very cool.
So don't ever run out of Post-it notes.
Yes. That's
Oh
right.
wait, and that was a really bad suggestion for the GM to
Yes. It
make
was.
note of later.
Store's all out of post-it notes. It only has generic brand sticky notes.
No.
Ah!
And we're never gonna get a sponsor for this game if we keep going that way.
Oh dear. Dear. What is Simon's madness talent?
Simon can see sound. At lower levels, it's like echolocation, like a Daredevil radar sense.
Yeah.
But at higher intensities, he can interact with sound physically and either like manipulate it or use it like a weapon.
We like this. And for Sam, what is Sam's madness talent?
It's tied to her dog tags. They can put up a shield around the people around her and keep them safe from harm, but not necessarily herself.
Shield others. Interesting. Cool. All right. So it sounds like for
I mean, I'm open to suggestions.
I would think. Well, no, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. It seems like you're probably going to have to use more madness dice the more you want a shield. I think that's probably what we're going to be looking at for that.
Okay.
So, now that we got all that in place, let's now do our little workshopping thing here. What do you think in terms of folks knowing each other? I'm assuming they're all in some way. Do we want to say that you're all affiliated with this university, or is there something else we wanted to do with this?
I think the university works.
Yeah.
I imagine we're all in a class together, if not know each other, outside of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That works. Were there any other specific ties anyone wanted to make?
Oh, I know that I buy a lot of coffee. I mean, a lot of coffee.
Yes. So you probably run into Simon quite a lot.
Yeah.
As you're both usually at the same hour.
Yeah.
Buying coffee. So much coffee. Yes. And so yeah, I like the idea of either. So when we kick this off, I'm thinking I like the idea of either doing it at either a university function or you're all in a class of some kind. I like
A study group?
Yeah, the study group sounds good. Study group sounds good. You guys, would you folks be cool with that?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
good
fine
with
with
that.
it.
Okay. So, what are you studying?
English 101?
Yeah,
Okay,
my
sure.
numbers good. I music good. I know talk good.
Because that's generally any degree, you're going to have to do that. Unless
You do have to do that. That's usually fairly early. Well, I mean, we can take it pretty much. I think some universities you have to take it before you get to some of your core requirements, possibly. But I know a lot of them is like you can get to it pretty much whenever. So I guess that's a good question. What is everybody? I think. Who's getting the accounting? Sam's getting the accounting degree, yes.
Mm-hmm.
What's Simon working on?
Simon is working on an accounting degree to please the folks, but I mean, probably going to end up with a music minor.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So, and it sounds like actually that Sam and Simon might be a little bit older, than possibly than Jin is anyway. Just because Sam has already served in the military, and Simon already has the DJing gig. So maybe not like it's not like a huge gulf. I don't think, but
I was thinking around like 25, 24, something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking around that age.
Yeah, Jin just graduated high school. This is her first year at college.
Okay. Oh, no, that's fine. That's okay. All right. And I'm guessing Sam and Simon probably have accounting classes together also.
Probably.
But it's the start of accounting classes, I would guess, so we're probably like one of 300, so we might recognize each other from class, but it's not, I don't know, you know. Usually the classes like that have like 300 students
Oh,
or
if
something,
it's a huge number of people. Yeah, that's actually another thing. For this city that you're in starting, the city slumbering, as we call it, the city in the real world, is this a really big university?
I think it's a pretty sizable one.
Is it like in the midst of a city, or is it outside of the? Is it like in a suburb, or where physically is the
City?
university located?
I think a city.
Yeah, I think so too.
Cool.
Easier to find those all-night coffee places.
Yes. Okay. I am seeing many. I am seeing these many and varied things. So I guess the last question I have. The thing that happened to Jin happened only a short time ago. We know that. How long ago did the? I feel as though but also the thing with the callers into the radio station and the fireworks. Those both happened. Also, probably very recently. Was it all like? As far as those go, was that all like last night, or is it?
I think the fireworks was like about a month ago at the start of term, like the sort of welcome to start of term, welcome to university type thing. So it's probably been going on for about a month for me.
Okay. And how recently did the calls start coming in for Simon?
I imagine the weird ones have been going on for a week, but the you should probably move Wax King stuff probably happened at the same time as Jin's neighbor incident.
Okay. All right. So this is a game that, and I think I said this before we started the stream, but I don't think I've said it on the stream yet. This is a game that is very much about the individual paths in many ways. It's very much a spotlight game, and so it does tend to come together as a more of a slice of life thing. And interactions, it's cool to have characters with each other, but if you decide to split the party, that'll be perfectly fine. It's very much about your own individual paths, and I'm going to try to connect things up where I can. But the nature of the game is such that it is very much, we're going to get a window into just sort of what life has become like for you, and what once the nightmares begin stalking. And this is not necessarily. Not everything is going to have a neat resolution, but we're going to see kind of where things go. All right. I think let's go ahead and do an introductory scene, get a little bit into it, see where we end up, and I think after that we might take a break. Unless anyone needs one, please let me know.
Good.
Okay. All right. So I think we're going to start, as you said, in a study group. Perhaps is your study group at one of these coffee houses, or where does the study group take place?
A coffee house is a good place.
I imagine it's in my place just because I don't have to pay for drinks, and I can be like, yeah, I'll grab us all coffee.
Okay, that works.
I like free coffee.
Cool. So does your place have coffee, or is it, or do you go to a nearby shop to get it, or where's the coffee come from?
I imagine it would be the cafe I work at.
Okay.
So like I probably get off work, went to class, and then this is after that to like
Okay.
the afternoon.
All right, and you folks are meeting in that cafe,
Yeah.
but you can still get the free coffee there, basically.
Yeah.
Is that what we're looking at? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Dave's got us. He's gonna keep him coming.
Dave's good that way.
Dave is awesome.
Do you, what is the, do you have a name for the cafe?
Absolutely not.
That's a good name.
That's a good name.
The Absolutely Not Cafe.
Absolutely not. Does Dave own the place, or is Dave just working there?
I mean, I can really see that going both ways. Yeah, Dave is the owner.
Okay. People have asked Dave why he named it Absolutely Not, and his response is usually, "Do you really want me? Do you really want me to tell you?" And he'll say yes, and he'll say absolutely not.
And he laughs really hard every single time.
Yes.
Exactly. Good. All right. Let me actually. Okay, that's enough of that music. Switch over to something else. Here, brooding. That looks good. Okay.
Brooding Coffee Study Group.
All right. I wonder if it's too early to get that brooding. Now we're fine. Okay.
It's never too early.
Never
to
too
get-
early brood. So we're so you're there in the coffee house. You've got it is at night again. Simon, do you have a do you have to go on the radio later, or is this one of your days off from lunch?
This is my day off.
Okay. All right. So you folks are there in the cafe. Dave has been setting things, been hooking you up with the coffee, and there are very few people in here right now. It's pretty much just you folks and Dave, and there's. So as you've sort of been down studying, it's been a little while, and there's this sort of like very sort of loud staticky sound that seems to come from outside. It's kind of like a cross between, I want to say, a TV set to a no channel and like some kind of I almost want to say almost sort of rhythmic, like an engine of some kind, and Dave just kind of is doesn't seem to notice at first, but someone seems to just sort of run past. You can see the glass, through the glass. You can see outside onto the sidewalk, and the street out there. And someone just sort of runs past, looking back, and Dave looks up and notices that, and he's like, "You folks gonna be okay for a minute? I just want to check on that."
Do you need help with it?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah, we're good here.
All right.
You what you need, man. We got
I'll go
you.
with you.
Dave shrugs, and I just want to see what it is, and he heads outdoor, and
I'm gonna follow
You
him.
follow him? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
I immediately start looking at everything that they had written down. I'd be like, okay, so the answer for this. Yeah. Flipping through folders.
nice.
My notes are very neat and organized.
Yes. Sam's notes are good as you're looking at them, and you actually. Who shall I do this with first? I'm going to start with Sam, then I'm going to come back inside. So, Sam, you head out, and you're on Dave. You were right on. Well, you weren't right on Dave's heels because he was right. The counter. The way it is in my head, I'm imagining it. He can just head out the end of the counter and then right out the door. And so he disappeared around the corner for just a second before you got to the door. And you look out, and as you get to the door, you notice that it's the street lights out here. A couple of the street lights are really bright, unusually bright. And so you see the glare there.
What time of night is it?
It's, I want to say probably, if time has been what it has been, I want to say it's like, oh yes, it's probably getting close to midnight.
Okay.
If not, because I think you folks have probably been cramming for a while.
What's the moon?
The moon currently, I do not have a random moon phase, so we will say the moon is a crescent.
Okay.
Sliver. Just hovering up there.
Sorry,
And,
just trying to
Oh, no, that's fine.
get the atmospheric conditions weather.
And it's a bit overcast. There's a light. It's been drizzling. It hasn't really been raining properly. And there's a light of smog in the air. It's in the high 50s. Temperatures are expected to descend through the evening and into the morning. In the morning, we should be getting back up into the mid 70s. And then there's a cold front that'll be coming in just on. Oh wait. Anyway. I will finish this other report if you let me.
I'm not stopping you.
Damn.
And now, the weather.
There's my pressure system coming in from the east. So, as you get further in, so you see that you note the weather, and just sort of down the street, you look and you can't see Dave. Is what I'm getting at. What you do see is a little strange. Someone is, as you get out the door, the sound gets louder, and a little easier to discern. You think it's actually, the pattern of it makes it almost like it's like there's music. And sort of coming down the street, you see someone dressed in a very loud vest and hat. Ordinarily, it would be, to say that these things are loud would mean that the colors are all over the place, which they are. But there's also this kind of sparkly neon effect that's going on them as well. Like they've got like LCDs or something in there. And it's actually...
Are they on fire, or are they just, there's light sparkling around them?
You know, it seems like there's an overlap on the Venn diagram there. They're not screaming or rolling around as though they're on fire. So they're probably just got, a bunch of LEDs or something. But then also the odd thing is this sort of weird accordion-like thing that they're carrying, slung around their neck in front of them. Actually, it's more of an organ grinder. And you haven't been able to see their face yet because they're still kind of far away. But the closer you get, you sort of see this, you note that weird sort of static music thing is coming out of their grinder. It's very dissonant. It's like somebody tried to write something like Philip Glass and failed horribly. it's all over the place. But there is kind of a melody to it, you think. But Dave is nowhere to be seen. There are a few cars out on the street right now, but there are no. You're not really seeing any people. There are a few lights on in windows. And actually, as this figure passes, you do notice street lights and lights in windows going out, which is a little weird.
I'm going to. One, I think my character keeps a knife on the back of her belt, so just have that ready, and yell out, "Dave, are you around? Are you okay?"
There is no response. However, one moment, let me flip back into the coffee house real quick. I am. Let's see. Here we go. I have a deck of plot twists in front of me.
Oh, random plot twist.
Random plot twists. So. Yes. Yes. So, Simon, as you are looking through the papers, Sam's papers, slightly before Sam cries out, you see there's a newspaper underneath that you sort of it looks sort of like a tabloid thing.
Into it.
Yeah, you didn't realize Sam read this kind of stuff. So do you actually pick it up and look at it, or do you?
Yeah,
Oh,
for
okay,
sure.
You pick it up and you look at it, and it's a little weird. It's it's called the Midnight Herald. It's not it's not a newspaper you've seen around here. And as you're just sort of flipping, you see inside there's what looks like a very bad picture of, it could be that looks kind of like Jin.
Okay.
And the headline is student wins local election. And then the sub headline is criminal ties not confirmed.
Jin, I didn't know you were like famous.
What?
Yeah. You're like the president.
Wait, what? No.
I'm gonna
What?
just hold on. Like, no, I'm like, this is a splitting image of you, man.
Oh.
It-
But that's just.
I mean, you're in luck. They haven't found your criminal ties yet, though.
I don't.
Jin, it looks just like you, but that hasn't happened as far as you're aware.
Looking at Simon with kind of a why are you doing this kind of look. Why did you make that? And that's
Oh, dude, I don't know
Really?
Photoshop, man. That stuff melts my brain.
But-
Jin, your eye will land on the date
Mhm.
real quick as you're just scanning the page. When your eye lands on the date, you notice that it is actually tomorrow's date. Now, at that very moment, that is when you hear Sam cry out from outside. And Sam, you're calling for Dave? What is that?
Yeah, I said, Dave, where'd you go?
And,
Where are you?
Yeah, you hear her shout that.
Look, am I? Jin actually like pinches her arm really hard. It's like, no, I'm still awake. This is all really weird. Look, what?
It's fine. Calm down. I mean, I didn't know that Sam carried these weird tabloids too, but like, congratulations.
It's not real. It's not real. It's not even. I mean,
I'm gonna flip it over in my head. I mean, it feels real to me.
No, I mean it's like if I wrote down somewhere that you were really a sea monster, that wouldn't really make you a sea monster.
Oh man, now I really want to be a sea monster. How wicked would that be? I'm gonna like flip a page and be like, local DJ becomes sea monster. Yeah, now I'm in here too, man. We should probably check on Dave though.
Yeah, the music is getting louder as you can sort of hear it now in the cafe. You now sort of recognize that Simon, especially, or for Simon, this actually sounds slightly familiar, but it's that sort of weird anti-Philip Glass thing that I described earlier. Sam, Dave has not responded.
Which direction did he head from the store?
He head in what would be toward in the direction toward the glowing person.
And the glowing person is passing by me now?
They're not quite to you yet. They're getting closer.
I'm going to walk that same direction, but cautiously, prepared for a fight.
All right, and you start heading that way. There are like mostly the buildings are pretty closely bunched together. There are like one or two alleys, like one to the right and one sort of across the street as well. But for the most part, it's all straight building. As you're heading that direction, and what are the folks in the cafe doing?
Jin at this point is just kind of aggravated with how, like, Simon seems to be unable to understand what a tabloid is, and she's gonna get up and go check on Dave.
Okay.
I'm also gonna get up and check on Dave and do nothing to conceal the fact that I was just rifling through Sam's stuff.
Excellent. All right. Sam, as you get closer, you see that the face is still hard to see, even though you're close enough that you think you should be able to see the person's face. They are wearing some sort of sunglasses-looking things, or dark glasses. You can make that out. And they look kind of pale. And they're wearing gloves, and there's this big gleam down beneath the glasses that you think are probably them. Maybe it's they're smiling. That could be their teeth. And they're just continuing to approach.
I'm going to assume they're a university student high on some type of drug.
Okay.
And so consider them a possible threat because, of course, high on drugs, no predictable pattern. But at the same time, I'm not going to necessarily attack, nor am I going to question them because they not be entirely aware of reality. So I'm more concerned about where Dave was heading and going towards that at the same time, like I said, not eliminating the person as a threat.
Okay. As you get, you're passing an alley. You're heading. You're almost up to where they are. As they're getting closer to you, Jin and Simon come out of the cafe and they see this. Simon, now hearing this music in the background, it has a familiar pattern that sounds kind of like it's not quite right, because they've gone and they've thrown it into a different register, and they've moved it all over the place. But it's kind of, and certainly not the style, but there are certain basic patterns in the music that sound not unlike some of the stuff that you have been working on.
Okay.
Just done really badly. And I'm not saying you've been working on minimalist stuff, but it's just that that's been taken and shoved into that mold.
Okay. And can you describe the device that this music is coming out of again?
It looks like it's this glittering organ grinder, like thing that this smiling individual is just turning the crank on. And when the two of you come out of the shop, they actually sort of stop moving forward and just stand there, continuing. The street lights behind them are all out. One thing I will say is that Sam is going to note is that there is just above the organ grinder now, there's this sort of it's glittering, kind of like little fireworks are going off on top of it.
Is there a sound effect to them?
Sparkle. There's a little bit. Actually, I mean, the sound right now, the cacophony is getting worse, so the sound's pretty bad. So there might be there are like little in there, but nothing huge. But again, that
I'm gonna drop down.
Okay.
Like taking cover, drop down.
Okay. Yeah, that. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna mistake that for like Sam falling. I'm gonna rush over. You okay?
When he rushes over, I'm gonna pull him down and yell, "Get down!"
Oh, but why?
The moment you do that, a bolt of light fires forward out of the thing, arcs over your heads, and appears to be streaking toward Jin, because the two of you ducked down. Jin, what are you doing?
When you say a bolt of light, are we talking just like high power halogen spotlight, or are we talking like some type of, I don't know, energy weapon?
Laser.
Beam.
It's kind of like someone fired it's like maybe someone fired a tiny little rocket, or the fireworks of the little rocket types.
Okay.
At you.
Jin's gonna step out of the way, and she's getting kind of angry at all this. She's like, what's with the stupid performance art?
Excellent.
Stupid.
So, what I will need you to do, because this thing appears to be honing in on... No, you can step out of the way. If it could home in, it would have hit someone else. You step out of the way, it streaks past, and at that point, the sort of the popping sound goes down, stops. So it no longer sounds like it's charged in that fashion. But it is sort of like, it is still sparkling all over.
Okay, as soon as the light fires, I'm gonna get up and tackle the guy down to the ground.
Excellent.
Because he is now a threat and has tried, I don't know if the light does damage or not, but I'm gonna react as if he's attacking me.
Okay. So what we're going to need you to do then is you can let me know, first off, you're going to be rolling your discipline and your exhaustion.
Okay.
And let me know are you using, before you roll that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to roll that many times. I
need to know
Sorry.
if you're using your, I need to know if you're using...
I was
Cut
like,
the
why is
green
it not
wire,
responding?
Snip. Okay, but before you cut the green wire, No. So I need to know if you're using either any of your talents or if you want to use any madness dice.
No madness dice, but I do have the hand-to-hand combat for my exhaustion talent, so I would like to use that skill.
Yeah, so you're going to be using you're using your hand-to-hand. So now we need to determine, for a second, let me just check. You're going to be doing the minor use or minor use or major use?
Minor. I'm not out to kill the person. I'm assuming that they're a weird nerd from universities doing weird experiments, so I'm not out to kill them.
Okay.
I just want to knock them out so that they're no longer a threat, and then get them to the hospital.
Okay. So, you're invoking a minor use of your exhaustion talent. So that means that you're going to get at least at least 2 of your exhaustion if you're rolling just 2 exhaustion dice, then those are going to pretty much automatically going to be successes. This is going to up your exhaustion afterward, I believe. Assuming I'm remembering the rules right. Please remind me if I'm not remembering them right. So that's, I believe that is the cost of doing that. Okay, so that's your, and this is very, and normally, I'm sorry, I should have rolled first so you could see what you were up against, but we're all learning this. So let's see, you've got 1, 2, so are we looking at, I'm looking at your last discipline roll, there are, you've already got a couple successes. Let me go ahead and roll pain real quick, just so that you can see what you're up against here. I'm going to say this is going to be pain of 2. And so that's what you're currently up against, right? And I only got 1 success. Go ahead and roll your exhaustion, if you would. Your 2 exhaustion dice. Okay. And it was 2 successes anyway. Please increase your exhaustion by 1.
Permanent or
Well, there's not really any such thing as temporary exhaustion.
Okay.
To be frank.
do I also need to then edit my macro?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And so let's see what we've got here. Your discipline, you had you had 4 successes, which really seriously outdoes mine. So you're going to be very successful here. Also, discipline dominates. So actually, when discipline dominates, there are a few different things that you can do here. This means everything's in control. As a result, if discipline dominates, you have the option to, you do not have to take an extra die of exhaustion, actually, since discipline is dominating. So yeah, you don't actually have to put that up to 3.
Okay. I'm gonna remove it then.
Okay. Sorry about that, but
No, it's we're
we're remembering.
Yeah.
We're learning.
Yes.
Okay. So describe for me what happens when you grab this guy.
I'm gonna tackle them and knock the head on the ground to see if that knocks them out. While I'm doing that, I'm going to basically my goal is get them down on the ground and knocked out, or if not out, at least knocked out. Then at least the hands are under my control. Because I don't know what type of weapon this is. I'm like I said, my assumption is some type of university student who got whacked-a-dude on drugs and has weird experimental equipment. So main purpose is to get them no longer to be a threat.
All right, so you knock this fellow to the ground. Where does the since you have enough control in this situation, where does the box go that he's got, the organ grinder?
I would like to knock it away from him.
Okay, so it doesn't matter to you how it lands or anything. You just pull it off his pull it off of his shoulders and toss it
away
away?
from Simon and Jen, the opposite direction from anybody
okay, so
else.
further up the street.
Yes.
Okay.
So that if there is explosive devices in it, then they're not going to hit any casualties.
All right. So that happens. The box tumbles off, and there's this very loud. It's not a bang, but it's really more of a sort of a kind of like one of the chords from Koyaanisqatsi, or Mahler, or there's something. It's a really, really long, loud chord. It's sort of like an ancestor to the Hans Zimmer blah that you hear as it tumbles off. The lights are street lights are now going off and on crazily, and there appears to be there's a lot of the lights around the box itself are going crazy. There are lights on it, so the two of you in the back, you see this happen, and what are you doing?
I'm just shocked at how fast that was.
Whoa. Jesus, what the hell is that thing?
Is that Dave?
Jin's walking over to the box and taking out her phone.
I'm yelling, "Don't touch it! Don't get near it! It might explode!" Back away. Call Med back up.
That for sure got my attention. It could explode.
Jin's calling. Jin tries to call campus security.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, there's a little bit of my character, like, everything is a possible explosive device, so...
So, you're calling campus security.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a moment.
Yeah.
And Sam, this person that you have on the ground, first off, grabbing them sort of registering feels a little weird. Like as you grab their arms, you're actually it's kind of like they're nothing gives, right? I mean, they're not incredibly strong apparently, because you're able to just sort of drag them down immediately, but it's like it's like you're grabbing like a mannequin inside its clothes. And as you look at you see this thing's face. Its head is still on it, but you can see now that the teeth, that it's very smiling. It's these odd sort of little metal razor-like up and down things.
Is it a robot?
It is a robot.
Can I rip its head off?
You may rip its head off, certainly. And as you're doing so, you're like, ah! There's it sparks, and then the body sort of is still. The lights are still going, but no sound is emitting from them or anything. They're going just sort of like in their own little neon patterns. The head is also still going, and you hear it say, "Now you don't want to do that. This is unfortunate. The music will escape."
Music should be free, man.
You can help us wield it if you wish. It wants you. And as you're looking over, out of this box, this glow sort of cascades up and out. It's that thing that's kind of like somewhere between electricity and somewhere between a firework, but very obviously not a firework. Where it's the pattern of the music comes in, and again it's like Beethoven's Fifth played on static TV channels, as this thing is Now just sort of coming and turning around, and slowly it's taking it's kind of amorphous at first, but then just sort of coalescing.
I'm gonna start backing up. I'm gonna stand up and back up to Simon and Jen, and I'm gonna.
I'm going forward.
Okay. I want to get, if he comes with me, I want to get to them, basically, pull out the dog tags and be ready to shield them if things keep getting more crazy. Because the robot's no longer a threat. It's not a human. I don't care about it.
Yeah.
So
I'm approaching this music box / amorphous light blob.
I'm not going to let him get too close, even if I have to pull him back by the jacket, because I'm, again, afraid of explosives.
So it's funny, the box is no longer sparkling, but now this thing is, and it's kind of like just sort of like a blobbish, like if you poured glowing liquid, right, phosphorescent liquid, but it's in just more sort of gelatinous almost, and it rears up to almost human height, and it sort of turns, and as it does so, it's kind of like there are patterns on it that look like notes, and a thing that's like a staff, forming, a thing that's like a smile up where it might have a face. And as you get closer,
I'm not going to let him get too close, though. Even, like I said, if I physically have to restrain him.
well, as you get as close as Sam permits, you hear through the music this voice come out, and it says, "Maxfield Stanton, we would love for you to join our symphony." And that's where we're going to break, I think.
Okay.
For a
Beautiful.
little bit. We're going to take a quick break for biology and various other reasons. And we will be back shortly, like 5 or 10 minutes. We
Sure.
shall return.
Sounds like a plan.
folks, we have returned. And now, I believe we have a mobile music-looking thing to do with. It is just directly addressed to Simon. Sam is trying to be protective of both Simon and Jin, who are seemingly approaching this thing. So what are you folks doing? Hearing blob of music in front of you.
Jin is still trying to get campus security.
Oh yes, that's right. This is campus security. How can I help you?
There's this, maybe a bomb out here. Something exploded, and, yeah, you should get over here to the, I'm over at, the corner of Montrose and Main, and, like, all the streetlights have gone out, and everything's acting really weird.
Okay. Have you, where, are you in a safe place?
Well, I'm watching what's going on. Something exploded. I don't know if this place is safe or not.
Okay, if there are any assailants or anything you can see that looks like it might be unsafe, please, if you can, keep away from it. We are sending someone right over.
Okay.
And that's happening. In the meantime, what are Sam and Simon doing?
I'm going to try and pull Simon back. I don't know what this is, but
I'm for sure taking off my jacket and heading forward. Like, as she pulls, I'm just gonna be like, floop!
I feel as though that might work at first. But if Sam wants to forcibly restrain Simon, that is probably going to.
She will.
Probably going to win. If you would like to rule it out, you may.
You want to roll it out?
No, come on, they're a fan. They know.
We are a fan.
Yeah, they have my SoundCloud.
Sort of buzzing and humming, and you see all this what looks like static now that you can kind of it's starting to normalize. You can see it looks like TV static throughout its amorphous body.
I'm holding back until security gets there to deal with. I honestly feel like it's treating it like a bomb. I don't know what's going on with the pretty lights, but
Bombs don't talk.
yeah, they do.
Simon, it wasn't even talking to you. It was talking to someone else.
For a moment,
Oh,
you
no.
can. Yeah, you can. It says we can make you famous. We can make all of you famous. And you actually see briefly images pass along its middle for a moment. It's like of different people in rock concerts and a couple of celebrities that you recognize, and then it's like you recognize there's like a TV personality, and then for a moment you see for just a split second you see Dave standing there going, and then he vanishes. As the
Was he
image
in a box
goes
or?
over. Well, no, it's like literally for a moment he's standing there inside the amorphous creature, pounding against the surface, trying to get out, and then he vanishes, and then you see you see people in a parade and that sort of thing. For a moment. We can make sure you are seen everywhere.
I'll be bigger than the Beatles.
Simon, you dumb son of a bitch! Did you spike our coffee?
And for a moment, And the creature will say, Max Stevens-Townsend, come with us. And actually it will say, follow us, and we shall put you. And it spirals downward. And then the lights slowly, and then it's gone. It looks like it's gone down. You see there's, where it was, the street is glowing a little bit. And the lights come back up. And just for a moment, very briefly, Jin, over your phone, which you've turned off, but you've still got in your hand, you very briefly hear, there's this, and you hear coming from it, and there's static across the screen for a second. You hear, incidentally, congratulations on your election. And then it goes back.
What the fuck?
Yo, I'm pretty sure that guy just took Dave.
What? Where? What? You son
Yo,
of a bitch!
snap out of it!
What did you? Ow!
I'm gonna check. I'm looking around. Has anybody been injured now that it's quiet?
No, it's everything seems back to, well, you don't see anyone injured. You do see that, there's still the headless robot. You've still got its head. And then you see that, the box and the glowing area, and then, but everything else looks normal. Also, at this point, you do hear the sound of footsteps, as though, running footsteps, as though there are running footsteps getting closer from around the corner.
Look, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah. You called in a bomb threat, and I can't go back to prison.
Right. Let's go. Let's go. There's let's just go. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
I agree.
Let's
go.
Okay.
Just so you'll see, Sam, you've been looking around near where the box fell. There is what looks like it's a manhole cover, but it's shaped like the moon, actually, right now. It's a crescent shape. It's big, though. So it would still be big enough for a person to get down. And that's the thing that's glowing ever so slightly, in the same way as the static creature was. And it seems like
Nope.
it just went down
Not
there.
going.
Anyway, I'm just for your information. That's
I understand.
that's the
Nope.
direction.
I don't know what this thing is, but if it's trying to get us down there, I have no interest in going there.
Look, we all float down there, okay? Yeah.
So why don't we head back to are we heading back to the dorm? Where are we going?
Just somewhere.
Get our stuff from the cafe.
All right.
Quickly.
Okay. Look, what happened to Dave? And why did you put drugs in our coffee?
Why does anyone do anything, man?
You're such an asshole.
You put drugs in our coffee?
I didn't put any drugs in your coffee.
Then explain what the hell happened here.
So I'm holding the door open for everyone to get our stuff.
Okay. You folks getting your stuff, or?
And I kind of like turned slightly to Sam and was like, he was looking through your homework, Such an asshole.
I'm more concerned than anyone injured right now.
So, do you folks go into the coffee house?
Yeah.
Not exactly. As soon
Okay.
as they walk in, I immediately bolt towards the moon.
Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna be famous.
Bastard. I hope campus security tases him.
So here's what you folks see. So you kind of go in and you're grabbing your stuff and you turn around and you see Simon
Running by.
running out. You see him kneel down, rip up the manhole cover somehow. It's not very heavy. And he dives down there. And just as that happens, and presumably you folks see this and you turn back around and you head out, a couple of campus police come running around the corner. And they're looking around. They've got batons out.
I will go up to them and
I will go the opposite direction of them.
admit that, and hand them the head and say, this mechanic's walked out. There was a big light of explosion. So I called it an bomb threat.
So there are two campus security guards right now, and one of them, it's a man and a woman. The one is in front. She's lowering her baton and is trying to. Okay, what's going on? And she asks you to just sort of say what's happening. You hand.
I saw this figure walking across campus. It was lit up with LEDs or something, and then suddenly the box that was over there, this light shot out from it. So I assumed it was a bomb. I took it down as a possible. I first thought it was because it was walking like a human. I thought it was a human, so I took it down to to make sure the threat was negotiable, and then knock the bomb out of the way.
Okay, and they're looking a little confused when they say it, and they're kind of looking past you. Jin, what direction are you heading?
Directly away from the campus security.
Okay. That's back up the street, back in the direction that the robot was coming from.
Okay.
Which is fine. There are alleys you can duck down if you so desire.
Yeah.
But you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you, as you head down one of the alleys, the alley closest to the coffee shop, you do see that there is somebody in there.
Okay.
But there, it's basically it's like a homeless guy, just sort of sitting against a wall down near. Well, it looks like this might be the first time you've been in this alley. There's it looks like there's a place where it turns, and he's just sort of sitting there. He's got a cup in his hand, and as you're sort of walking up, he looks up for a second, squinting. They after you?
I don't know what you're talking about. No one's after me. Here, Jin just reaches into her pocket, pulls out a couple of bills, and just like drops them in his cup.
Thank you. Well, if they ain't after you, well, actually, no, you're great at lying, so he totally believes you. And he says, okay, all right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Did you see Dave come down here? I don't know if you know who Dave is. He's like about 6 feet tall. His hair's kind of long. He
absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That Dave, absolutely not.
You saw a different Dave?
The cafe, absolutely not. That Dave.
Oh, right. Yeah, that Dave. Yeah.
He, he's just sort of looking around. He's like, if they ain't after you, I don't know. I should, you don't want to know where Dave is.
No, I mean he was like in this. There was a robot and there was a glowing thing, and I think I'm on drugs right now. And
no, you're not.
Okay.
You don't want this. You don't want this. You don't want this.
You're right. I don't want this, but I do want this. You know, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's been a while since I've had any sleep, and I need to, like, Dave disappeared, and someone spiked my coffee, and I'm like really kind of wondering what the hell's actually going on, and the cops are out there, and I don't want to, and there was, I'm gonna get, I'm gonna be elected. I don't even know what that means.
Oh, what kind of election?
I don't know. I take out one of the post-it notes, and I start trying to write down what I remember from the tabloid.
Okay, so there are a couple of things now that I need you to do for me.
Okay.
I was just going to have you roll to convince this person to help you. That's still kind of what we're doing.
Okay.
But if you wish, you may also add madness dice to this. I mean, you could have anyway.
Okay.
First, though, let me go ahead and roll pain, just so that I'm going to roll one pain die.
Okay.
Just so you can see what you're up against. So you got to beat one success.
Okay.
So you're going to be rolling at least your discipline and your exhaustion. You may roll madness if you wish.
Okay. Do I have to decide before I roll?
You should decide before you roll, yes, which
Okay.
how many of what dice you're going to be using.
I'll be using my discipline, my exhaustion, and I'll roll a madness die in there too.
All
just
right.
'cause.
So go ahead and roll all three of those things.
Okay, discipline, that's one success. Exhaustion, that's one success. And madness, one die, is also a success.
Okay, so you got 3 successes. So that handily beats my one. And again, discipline dominates. So if you wish, you may erase an exhaustion. You may bring your exhaustion down 1 if you want.
Excellent. I will do
so
that.
You can go down from 2 to 1.
Okay.
And so you're actually in complete control in this situation. So presumably, you managed to get through to him. Is that what you're looking for, to convince him?
Yeah, and maybe largely just to convince him that he wants to give up the info.
Okay. So, what do you show him when you if you're writing this thing down on the?
Okay, I take out one of the the pad of post-it notes, and I take out my pen, and I'm writing down what I remember was in the tabloid about being elected and about my links to crime not being brought up.
Yes.
And I write as much of that as I can, and I just like hold it up so he can read it.
All right, he sees that. The headline. What was the date on that? What was the date on the where you read
Tomorrow.
They headlined you. All right, I'm going to tell you what's going on.
Please.
But if I tell you this, I can't untell you. That's the problem.
Well, isn't that the same way with anything you tell someone?
Not anything. I'd like the ability to untell. If you want to forget, just there's a way to do that. All right. I saw where Dave went. I know, well, not exactly. I know where you'd have to go if you want to get at him.
Okay.
There's an entrance just down this turn here. You go down this turn, though, you're going to be in a different place. Very different.
Like, I mean, like I don't know. I mean, is Dave okay?
I don't know.
Is
But
what's your name?
Dennis?
Dennis. Okay, Dennis. I'm gonna go, and I'll be right back. Okay.
Oh, you're dragging somebody else into this? You sure you want to do that?
I'm gonna no. I'm gonna go where you just told me, like around the corner there, and I'll be right back. Okay.
Don't go all the way through if you want to come back, just in case. I don't know. He's looking. I gotta find my watch.
It's and I check the time on my
It's
phone.
about. It's probably. I said it was a little before midnight 4, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So at this point, you're probably at a little past midnight
Okay.
by now. So let's say it's like 12:05 or so.
Okay. It's 5 past midnight.
Okay. You got time. All right.
All right. I'll be right back. Don't run off anywhere.
I can't. I'm stationed here.
Right. Okay. Okay. And Jin just like dashes around the corner.
All right. In the meantime, so Sam, you've been talking to campus police, and you've now
I
got.
kind of do a summary of, we heard a loud noise. Dave went out. I followed him to see if there was something I could help with. Saw someone walking. It turned out to be a robot. When the light exploded, I thought it was a bomb.
Okay. They're looking at, and they're so the.
And I'm doing this all in the position of military rest, like I'm giving a report to a superior.
Okay. Cool. All right. So she's just sort of looking, and she's kind of writing down some of what you're saying. You do notice that about halfway through, she sort of stops, and just listens to you and is nodding her head, and then you just sort of quirks the side of her mouth, and the male security guard is looking at this thing that you've handed them, and he just sort of leans over and he whispers something to the other security guard, and she looks down and she's like, "Oh yeah." She sort of smiles, looking at the head, and he offers the head back to you.
I don't want it.
He's like, okay, look. The lead security guard says, we haven't had any trouble with you before, so we're going to let this go. But, just because it's late at night and you think we don't have anything to do, there's no reason to just go crank calling us, okay? It's funny, all right? But don't do it again. And
Okay.
And she just sort of turns to the guy. Yeah. This is nice. I thought they'd sold out of these. I got my kid one. And he says, you don't want it? He offers it back again. He shrugs. He says, just sort of looking down. It's like. And just sort of is, they both shrug, and they turn around and they start walking away. And it's weird because you were pointing at things very specifically, and as far as you could tell, it's like they didn't even see the robot or the box or the manhole cover or anything.
Okay.
And you actually, during this time, the guy, while you were giving your statement, the guy actually did walk around and look around a little bit, and then came back to you. And It's like they completely do not believe what you have told them.
Okay.
Do you let them walk? Okay, so you let them walk away.
Yeah, I could be going crazy right now. I don't know.
As they're walking away,
I could be drugged.
and the guy is, and you could be, and the guy is just, he's got the robot hand in his head. It speaks again, and it says, and it says,
If the music gets away, it will be bad for everyone.
and he doesn't react to it at all. It's as though he couldn't hear it.
I'm going to bring up my phone and put a reminder to myself in the morning that I need to call my VA doctor, and maybe I need to up some meds.
As you were doing this, Jin comes out of the wait, Jin, where were you headed? What were you doing?
The guy said to go around the corner.
Oh, you're going around the corner. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I know where everything is headed here real quick. You head around the corner, and it's there's a brick wall, and then there's a door.
Okay.
It is a bright red door.
Is it metal, wood?
Wood.
Wood. Okay. I knock on the door.
You knock. There does not appear to be an answer.
Okay. I'm gonna try to phone Sam.
I will point out while you're knocking on the door, you do notice it looks like it has no lock. It actually looks like an internal door.
Huh. Okay.
And you're
Still, I gotta phone Sam.
okay. Sam, you're putting in your reminder, and your phone rings.
Answer it.
Hey, is everything okay?
I'm not sure how to answer that. Why?
'Cause I'm gonna, I'm heading into some door here.
Where are you?
Well, if you come around the side of the coffee place, go about a block down, there's an alley. There's kind of a homeless guy at the end of the alley, and there's a door here that I'm not really sure. I think it's important, but I don't want to go through it alone right now.
Smart. I'll be there in a second. I want to make sure that I'm going to hang up. I want to make sure I have my backpack, not so much with my notes, but I keep certain essential items on me: flashlight, lock picks, and basic power bars and a bottle of water. I want to make sure it's on me.
Okay, you look through. You have everything.
Okay, then I'm going to head down to where Jen is.
Okay. Quick question, Jin. Did you stay with her until she finished her check, or did you keep going?
I'll stay.
Okay. Just trying to figure out. Okay. So the two of you head down the alley. There is a homeless man sitting at the corner, in the alley, in a corner inside the alley. I'm going to say, Sam, that you've actually been down this alley before, because you probably, I'm guessing, would have scouted out the whole area around the coffee house, usually. That corner, that turn is not...
Oh, I also have a first aid kit. Just
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, sure. No, that's fine. Yeah. So that turn. Well, that turn is there, but it looks a little better lit or something this time around. Right now.
So yeah, there's this door, and so last night I had something weird happened with the door, and I'm still not completely convinced I'm awake right now. But I figured going through here probably, like, if I'm asleep, maybe it'll give me some answers. And but I didn't want to go in alone, so on three, I'm gonna push the door open, and we can go in, right?
I'll go with you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and push the door open.
Okay, you push the door open, and there's a it looks like there's a corridor beyond it. That goes out a little bit, and then there's a sort of a dense, some sort of moving light beyond it, moving light source.
Okay. In we go, I guess.
I'm gonna turn on the light, and I know there's a light source, but is it lighting up the whole area well, or is it just how well lit is the area immediately around us?
It's actually there are a couple. Now I will say, as you've been down here, Sam, I can tell you this door was not here when you last looked at this area.
I'm apparently needing to up my meds anyway, so I'm following the trip as it goes.
The light, it's not terribly well lit in there as far as you can see, but there is a light source beyond you think. There's a turn, and then there's something over there.
Can I turn on my flashlight and look around?
Well,
what's the terrain?
Well, there's a corridor that turns to the right.
Mm-hmm. But what is it? Wood on the ground, concrete, rock?
It is stone.
Okay.
And it's
all right. I will
stone.
take lead.
Okay.
I'll tell Jen I'll take lead, and we'll start walking.
As you
stay behind me.
So as you go in and you turn, you see another city street with a lot of neon, and at first glance it looks like this just comes out impossibly into another city street that shouldn't be. Just the whole layout of it shouldn't be possible, because this would be inside another building.
Does this layout seem familiar in any way? Like, have I been to this city before?
There's some slight familiarity, but nothing huge. But it's like a city.
I'm trying to figure out if I'm experiencing a flashback or if I'm.
No, you're not. As far as you know, it's only familiar in that it's like a city, but it's very wide. It's kind of a cobblestone street, and it looks like there is, as far as you get in, it looks like there's a lot of lights and noises, people. There's a lot of humming, sort of the hum of a crowd. And as the two of you come out into it, presumably do you come out into it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As the two of you come out into it, what you can see prominent over everything is a clock tower with where the clock has 13 numbers on it, 1 to 13, and towering over the city that looks almost slightly non-Euclidean in ways. The buildings warp strangely.
I want to start making my way to the.
Sorry,
Sorry.
And there are a lot of tents splayed out around, as though someone has set up a kind of a street market, and a lot of people, a lot of cars, and you haven't quite gotten in far enough to see the people.
What type of cars?
They look like some of them look fairly recent. Some of them look pretty old. There's like a Model T next to a Volkswagen Jetta.
What about the people?
And well, we're not there yet. You haven't quite gotten close enough to see the people yet. But what you will notice, also, as you're about starting to absorb all this in, take all this in, both of your phones buzz.
Okay, who's calling?
So Jin, you look down, and you see that And let me actually go ahead and see if I can communicate this to you real quick.
I'm gonna keep looking around. I'm not gonna look at my phone.
All right, hang on just a second. As I have yet to learn how to do this secretly through Roll20, but I know how to send secret messages through. I know how to do it through Zoom, so that's what I'm going to do.
Ba-ba-bum.
Uh-oh. Secret message time.
Let me get my decoder ring out.
Yes.
Have you been drinking your Octane or whatever the...
Yes. All right. That's the message that Jin sees.
Great. That's definitely a thing. Sam, Simon says he's got us into VIP at a club.
And that's where we're going to shift the frame over to Simon so that we can see what Simon has been up to. After you go down the manhole cover, you find that you have gone down into you're in this sort of this sewer tunnel that you follow for a little while because you can hear the music distantly, you see the light distantly ahead of you, and presumably you keep going, and because there are a couple of points where it's like you go and there are a couple of pipes that are like coated in wax, which is weird, but the music is going in a different direction. And
I'm gonna follow the music.
Okay. And you come around, you go through a few turns, and the tunnel gets, oddly enough, weirdly sometimes smaller and larger at times. There are like pipes everywhere, ducts everywhere, making a very weird, confusing maze. And part in the back of your head, you're thinking this can't possibly be efficient. The way that they're, the way that this is set up, and as this is going on, you come through and sort of walking through this area. You eventually come out into a slightly better lit area. There are pipes going all over the place, and you can hear sort of thrumming sound from behind. It looks like in the middle of the tunnel, there's a sort of a brick wall, and it looks like a revolving door where a couple of that you think presumably the music must have gone in there, and to either side these are a couple of they're cellos standing to either side of this revolving door, sort of leaning against the wall. There's a cello on the left and a cello on the right.
How old do they look?
They look like they don't look too battered. It looks like they've been fairly well taken care of and polished, but the wood grain does look like it probably it's something that's been polished for an instrument that's been polished for a very long time. Maybe not like a full century, but something not too far from that.
Okay. Weird place to keep your cello, man. I'm gonna see if there's any sort of identifying tags. This is Christina's cello, or if found, returned to the campus music room.
Yeah. So as you're sort of look at it, and you're sort of Do you pick one of them up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, probably not like physically, but like I'll pull it up against the wall to like check behind it.
As you reach for it, as you reach for this cello, quite rather immediately, you notice that suddenly there's this arm reaching out and grabbing your wrist. And
From the cello?
From the cello, yes. Now that you look down, it's like it wasn't there a moment ago, but now it has an arm made of wood, the same wood grain as the cello itself. In fact, it has two of them, and also atop where the handle is, a couple of eyes open,
No.
and you hear in this low voice that's kind of like a string being drawn across the strings, like a bow being drawn across the strings of a cello. It says, "Hey, watch who you're touching."
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a cello.
I am a cello. I
Oh,
am an instrument.
well, I was right. God, I'm good at this.
We only let. What do you want?
I'm following my dream, man.
Oh, that narrows it down. No. What do you want?
Some weird. I'm gonna describe the light. Like, yeah, he said he was gonna make me famous. Play my music everywhere.
Is the I'm full of hate now for a reason completely unrelated to this game. Now that only those in Zoom chat can see. Anyway, no, that is yes, that is the broadcast. The broadcast is out. It's is inside celebrating. You're a friend of the broadcast.
Yeah, for sure. We go way back.
Okay, so I believe you're attempting to manipulate or deceive this the cello. So I'm going to call for a roll here, and
Don't you wish Jen was there?
you're going to be rolling against a pain of 2.
Okay.
And you're rolling against 1 success.
Great.
So you have to use at least your discipline and exhaustion. It's up to you if you want to use madness.
What is the maximum amount of madness one can use in a roll?
6.
Great.
Excellent. Okay. So let's see. You have 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. So you succeed, but pain dominates. What this means is, in part, that means I get a despair coin that I can use in a later roll to adjust things a tad. And then that also means that while you're going to succeed, there's going to be a cost in this situation. So he says, he says, well, he's fine. We can let you in, but there's a cover.
Must be a fancy place in there.
You have something to give, a song, perhaps? I do not know where this cello is from. He was originally from the east, but he is drifting west. No, he's originally from from Eastern Europe, and now is drifting into Western Europe. Wait, quick, let me normalize the voice. All right, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Okay, back to this. What are you? What do you have for cover? Usually it's a song, but it can be something else.
I have lots of songs, man. What are you in the mood for? Something like sad, something happy. You want to dance?
Dances are good.
Okay.
You can
Tell
give
us
us a
dance.
song or a dance.
So I'm gonna pull out my phone and like take out one of the last tracks I was working on, which was like kind of like a club hit, like Deadmau5-esque wannabe ripoff.
Okay. So this is kind of interesting. As you so you take this out, and what is it you're taking out? Is it a out of your what physical object are you taking out of your pocket?
Probably my phone and like a Bluetooth speaker.
Okay. So you do that. You find the song, and as you play it from out of the speaker, cellos start bopping back and forth, and you notice a coin materializes on top of the speaker. It's got a musical note on it.
Okay.
And there's also writing on it.
I'll pick it up and then I'll just inspect it.
Yeah, so on the one side of the coin is the musical note and the title of your song. It says by Maxfield Stanton. And it's sort of looks like it's sort of an off silver color. On the other side of the coin is your face.
Oh man. I got it. I have some buddies who might be coming later. Do you mind if I just like pay their cover now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, then I'm gonna play 2 more songs, and I'm going to, in great details to these cellos, describe both Sam and Jen.
Okay, so you're doing that, and you play 2 more songs. 2 more coins materialize with the titles of the songs on them. And they're sitting on top of your on top of that speaker.
Okay.
And when you're done with the 3rd song, when you after that plays, they said, "All right, very good." Well, and he reaches out his hand with the palm open.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him the coins.
Okay. As you do this, you feel a little weird. There's this weird sensation like you've
you're
forgotten something.
talking to 2 cellos. Not that weird.
Yeah, it's in the neighborhood. It's perhaps not that weird, actually. No, not quite that weird. But it's like, you know that feeling like when it's like there's something that it was very important you wanted to remember, and you can't remember what it was. It was like on the tip of your tongue, and it's just gone, and you're like, okay, what was it? I don't know. So you get that feeling, and you hand him the coins. And
Man.
it sort of gestures like, "Go on in."
I'm gonna slip a 20 in between the strings.
Much obliged, Mr. Stanton.
Yeah, I'll go in.
All right, so you go into this club, and I'm going to. I need to change the music here because you're going into a club. Let's use this. Okay, so you head in, and it looks like a kind of a sort of a 20s speakeasy-like setup, except there's neon freaking everywhere, and everyone in here is either a musical instrument or dressed to look like a musician of some kind or someone associated with music. Either they're wearing tuxedos with or they're wearing or just one person in there looks like David Bowie. There are several people sort of dressed as like rock stars and other folks, and there are like a bunch of folks in the corner. There's someone who's sitting at the bar, looks kind of like Itzhak Perlman. So there are a lot of various musical celebrity-looking folks in here, and of all different types, and all types of living musical instruments, which is really freaking weird. They are serving drinks. The drinks are getting poured freely back and forth. There are giant cigarette boxes carrying trays. You're not sure how they're carrying the trays, but they are. You see that there is on stage, there's a little stage there, obviously, and on the stage you see there's what looks like a jazz section is playing. No people, just the instruments. And although they're playing something that's more akin to thrash metal for some reason, it's really weird, but somehow it works. Somehow it all strangely works. And so this is what you were presented with.
Okay, well, I'm thoroughly confused, and I'm pretty sure I've either lost my mind or am dreaming. But I mean, you might as well roll with it. When a cello gives you free drinks, you don't say no.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the rule.
Yeah.
I have to say, all the years of playing a cello, my cello never gave me free drinks.
I know, right? What's up with that?
I'm gonna pull out my phone. I'm gonna text Sam and Jen to be like, man, I find the secret cello bar. Come over.
Did you give us any more directions than that?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Well.
So, is that when you send the other texts?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you wander in and you start to mingle, and I'm going to shift the frame back, and we'll see kind of what's going on in the surface world of the Mad City. So you have entered the Mad City, and I hear more things in the background. Do you folks hear something else in the background? Or have I played two things at once?
My music?
I may have. Sorry, I've...
Hold on a second, let me check something.
Perhaps I've gone mad. It's entirely possible. No, they're all little triangles. None of this, so apparently we're fine. Okay. All right, well, yes, hallucinations. Glorious. All right. You have gotten, so yes, as Chris is off checking this, I will, actually then we'll stay with Simon a little bit longer, and until she returns. So yes, what is it that, where do you go first in this bar?
Do you still hear it?
I'm hearing it just a tiny bit, and then it went away.
Okay, then it wasn't. I had classical music playing in my living room, but I turned it off.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
I think it's more of a signal thing. But in any case, I did just ask briefly, Simon, where is the first place you're going to head in the bar?
I'm going to be looking for the thing I was chasing or Dave.
Okay.
So I'm just going to be kind of wandering around.
Okay. You find you are going to find as you're just okay. So actually, you're searching. So I'm going to yeah. I'm going to call for a roll here.
Okay.
So as you're trying to locate either, since you're trying to locate either one, since either one will do, I won't make this huge amount of pain. I will only go pain 3.
Okay.
And so you're trying to beat 2 successes.
Okay.
And you can just let me know whatever it is you want to, if you want to use mad. If you want to use madness, just let me know.
Do I want to use madness?
Yeah. Of course!
Of course I want to use madness.
But again, there's a lot of discipline dominating tonight. This is kind of weird. So...
Hey, I'm trying here.
However, that being the case, I do have a despair coin I could use here. So let me quickly look at the... let's see. Jimmy spend 1 coin to add or remove a 6 from any pool in play. Okay. So yeah, no, it will do me no good to do that. So yes, we'll go ahead and let that stand. So yes, discipline dominate. So you actually can go down again on exhaustion if you so desire. You now have that ability to take away an exhaustion. Did you have your exhaustion go down before, or was that?
I have not.
You have not. Okay, so you can go down one.
Probably. I can waive that, right? I don't have to?
You don't absolutely have to. No.
Okay. Great.
It's perfectly voluntary. You can increase your exhaustion whenever you like. So we'll see. So yeah, you're heading over. I'll tell you what. Because you did that, I will give you a coin of hope just off the bat here, which you can use on subsequent things when that comes up. So yeah, discipline is reigning here. You got 2 more successes than I did. So you're gonna find it's just in a very orderly fashion. You look, and there, holding court. It seems near the stage, but not too close to the stage. Doesn't take much. You hear the humming, and you see what looks like this vague outline. It's now you see it. You see the broadcast, and it is now dressed in a suit. So it's now more human shaped. But it still has the head that is, a human-shaped head that is, again, static, hands that are static, and it's drinking. And you see it chatting with a bunch of cellos and musicians, and it looks up and it says, excellent decision. Ladies and gentlefolk, the man of the hour, Maxfield Stanton. And there's a little tittering of applause. And
I bowed deeply.
Come on over, we've some deals to make.
Great.
And now we're going to flip back to the top side. So, entering Mad City. So there's some sort of a street market going on here. As you folks are looking around, the people are mostly human-looking, but some of them are not. Some of them are a couple of them are impossibly tall and narrow, it seems, and perhaps not made of human flesh. They look more like they're wrapped completely in bandages. The 2 tall ones. There are a couple of squat individuals that have sort of rubbery-looking orange skin, and have long sort of goblin-esque noses. And then there are folks that there are a couple of people that look like they're they're fish people with arms and legs and stuff, and they're wearing clothes, but sort of walking around. Everyone's just sort of calmly chatting with each other. Some folks are leading pets that are not exactly. You're not sure what they are, really. Amalgamations animals, perhaps. And there are food stalls, and there are little stores selling what looks like jewelry and all manner of these things. The street market that's out here, and that is what you see. The normal people look like they're dressed from, like, some look like they're in modern dress, some look like they're from the 80s, some look like they're from the 50s or 30s. It's like ranging all the way back to there are people in frock coats walking around. There are a few of those. Yeah.
I'm going to turn to Jin and say, yeah, I think he did drug her coffee. But if this is a hallucination, I want to try something. Grab my hand.
Okay.
And then I'm going to test if this is hallucination. We're supposed to go to a cello bar. I'm going to take a couple of steps thinking I'm walking to the cello bar. It should be just right here. I want to see if I could do almost a lucid dream.
You'd hope I were not muted if I spoke.
Yes.
Remind me again what your madness talent is.
Shielding.
Okay. You turn and you just walk towards anything in particular?
I'm going to walk towards the clock tower because if nothing else, I'd like to go up it and get an overall view of the city. That's the highest point in the land, or in the immediate area, so.
Okay.
And I'm also going to be watching, the attention is I'm hyper, watching everything around. Yeah, because this is an unknown situation. I don't have another soldier at my back, so I only have a civilian.
Okay. As you're walking, you fail to summon an entrance to a cello bar. But you do see a lot of people just sort of milling about and chatting. They look like they're trading things. Some of them have coins. Some of them just pull little objects out of their pockets. It's like there's a lot of... Jen will notice this in particular as you're looking around there. It's like there's a barter system really here more than anything else.
Yeah. If we're hallucinating, we can't... It wouldn't make sense for us to be hallucinating the same things. Do you see like a market, and there's like that guy over there who looks like he's made out of orange clay? And are you seeing the same things I'm seeing?
If we could have been given drugs that would allow, and then given suggestions that would allow us to hallucinate the same thing.
Okay, well, hold on a minute. Jen walks over to one of the stalls and still keeping Sam's hand and says, "Excuse me, we need to... Do you know how to get to a bar with cellos in it?"
You're talking to the person made of clay or someone else?
Yeah, person made of clay. Sure.
Okay. So you head up to this individual. Yeah. And they're just sort of, oh no, he's wonderful. You can reshape whatever you like if the price is. One moment, mademoiselle. I'm just dealing with his customer. Very well. Well, you think about it then. The other person isn't like talking to them. They actually have a head that is basically a doorknob. But you can't hear them saying anything, but somehow this clay person can. So much like claymation moving around. This person is like big sort of wild eyebrows and a pointed beard. Sort of swings back down around to you. Well, mademoiselle, now what can I do for you?
I'm trying to find a cello bar.
Cello bar.
Bar with
So-
cellos in it, maybe? People playing
Well,
cellos in the bar?
those can be delicious if you buy the right one. I think
No,
I
bar,
think Agnes
bar,
down there is selling them.
no, bar like a place where people go to drink and hear music.
That place. It's hang on, let me see if I can remember what they were calling that place. He says, as GM desperately looks for
Absolutely not.
for the name. No, not. Yes. It's he says, yes, you're looking for Club Absolute.
Yeah, that's the one. How do I get there again?
It reflects. Okay. He says, no, he says, you sure you want to go down there? They only let in folks who are part of the symphony.
Well, we know a guy who's really popular there, and we got to meet him there.
Okay, well, it's your, it's your lives. All right. You head down the alley, down that way. You turn left, and there should be a fire escape that goes down into the ground. You follow that down. It's just, and then you follow the tunnel. Just a few clicks, it turns around, you should get there. Do not turn left, you get on there, otherwise you're in Wax territory, and that's a little too close for the Wax King's liking. I don't know if that club's going to be down there much longer, I can tell you that.
I'm gonna pull out one of my homework assignments, just a general short answer homework assignment, and offer it to the guy as a tip.
He says, merci. He takes it, and you feel a little bit weird as you hand it to him, kind of like you've forgotten something, but you're not sure what it is. As he's looking it up and down, he says, "Oh, come back anytime." And he folds it up and puts it under the desk. That will come in very handy. Thank you. I don't know about linguistics.
Jim takes out the
Touching. Actually, he does that. He's sort of looking at the paper. He puts it away, and he looks up and his eyes close, his eyes open again, and he says, "Yes, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. Does that sound better?"
Yeah.
Ah, good. Interesting. Good. That's very interesting. It's always interesting to see how different people approach their languages. Have a good evening. Oh, do be careful. Only 45 minutes till 13 o'clock.
Jen takes out the post-it notes again, and experimentally writes down the directions that they were given, and then puts the post-it note on the ground and steps on it in the thought that maybe just by interacting with the directions, they'll get there quicker.
Are you using your madness talent?
Oh, yes.
All right. This is a thing where you are teleporting across the city.
Yes.
So this is going to be a little tough.
Okay.
So I'm going to You're not teleporting all the way across the city, so it's not a huge hop. But I think it is still a major use, so I think I'm gonna need 4 madness dice minimum for this.
Okay.
So I'm gonna need you to roll a minimum of 4 madness dice, and I will go ahead and roll pain for your opposition to this, which will be it is a protected club, but you're not trying to get inside. You're trying to get like right to the door, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll do pain of 2 for that, and so you need pain might dominate. That's the only thing you're looking out for here.
That's true. Am I rolling anything other than madness or just madness?
Yeah, you're rolling your discipline and your exhaustion as well.
Okay, and I will roll discipline. I will roll exhaustion. Come on, roll. There we go. And I think I will go with 5 madness dice.
Alrighty. Okay.
Woof.
So let's see what we have here. So 6 and 4, 6 and 4. Yeah. I am going. Tell you what I'm gonna do.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to spend a coin of despair.
Oh no!
Because you have now 3, 4, 5, 6 successes, so you're going to get exactly where you need to go. But I would like to, right now, discipline is dominating, and I want to change that. So I'm going to add a 6 in madness instead. So you have a 6 and a 5, which is going to make madness dominate.
Okay.
So, you're also going to get another coin of hope. You can use these at any time to, once again, I must look at it to say it. You can use those coins to remove an exhaustion or to remove a check mark made from fight or flight, or to bring it down 1, basically. Or add a 1 to your discipline pool maximum. Well, no, it's usually a maximum of 3, but I guess you can. But there's no maximum listed, really, so you can probably go up higher than 3 if you want. So, you can use the hope coins for that at any time. Here's what happens. So, madness is dominating. So, you do it, and there is a sort of an eruption around the both of you of Post-it notes flying all around you. A couple of them slice in, they give you little paper cuts that aren't really, but it's not like, it doesn't hurt a lot.
Okay.
It's just like, it's more annoying than anything else. And when the cloud of Post-it notes drops, you are standing in a place I will describe in a moment. But when you arrive there, you will have a response check. Remind me for Jin's fight or flight, what are they?
1 fight, 2 flight.
Okay, so you may choose which one of those. They're not going down per se, but it's one of them's getting used up, shall we say. Are you checking off fight or flight?
Fight in this case.
Okay, so you've checked off a fight response. So make a note of that, like you can put a 1 next to next one sheet. However, that makes sense to you, basically, to record it. And so this has triggered your fight response. So when you arrive, you're going to want to lash out.
Okay.
So where you arrive is a place I have described slightly earlier here. It's you're in a room, looks like beneath ground. There are pipes and such around, but in front of you is a well-lit brick wall, 2 cellos standing to either side of a revolving door. That now is revealed that there is a sign above the door that had burned out previously that says Club Absolute with no E at the end on it. And that is what you are presented with. How does Jin react?
She kind of like hugs her arms a little with the paper cuts on them, and she looks like frustrated and says, damn it, that hurt. Damn it. And she just like, does the door look like it's easily opened?
It is turning.
Okay.
It is a revolving door.
Okay. She's gonna let go of Sam's hand and just push her way in.
So as you approach, the cellos spring to life, and one of them, and they attempt to bar your way. They now have arms and legs quite suddenly, and eyes, and one of them puts its hand out and says, "Hang on a moment, miss. There's a."
Jin knocks it over.
Okay. They actually should know to let you in, come to think of it, but he had an impulse seemingly to just check, just to ask you first. Perhaps he was about to ask you a question, like what, like
Perhaps,
are you who were expecting? What is your name?
But
no, you have not.
I'm too angry.
You're too angry, so you're now about to clash with these cellos. So
there's imminent violence.
Imminent. It's much bigger than that. There are imminent cellos. So this is going to be versus pain of 4. And I got 1 success, so that's what you're trying to beat here.
Okay, what am I rolling?
Well, you're at least rolling discipline and whatever your exhaustion is right now.
Okay.
And you may roll madness if you wish. And you can let me know what you're trying to do, but...
Discipline and exhaustion. There we go. 4 successes. And I'm just trying to push my way past them.
Okay. But pain dominates. So, which once again, I get another coin. You're going to succeed at cost. So,
Okay.
you very violently... well, actually, you can describe here. What do you do to these cellos?
Okay. I figure that she's just gonna like knock them down. Just push them to the side and maybe get an elbow in or something. She's not a very physically violent person. She's just like slamming past them, and if they get in her way, she'll knock them over.
All right. So you violently smash one as you actually get hold of the strings, and the strings come plucking out and make your and cut your hand. And you actually end up smashing that one because you're using a little more force than you'd planned to. Smashing one into the other that gets knocked up against the wall. The one that you've smashed into the other is in pieces, and you've got a splinter of wood coming out of your leg now. Not a huge splinter, but it does that, and the other one just sort of goes like, falls down, and you hear this other cello like, as it dies. And the other one's like, trying desperately to get up, but it can't because, you never turn cello on its back because it can't get up. So, what are you folks doing?
I'm going to follow Jen, and yeah, now that we're gotten in.
Yes, you made it in. Congratulations.
And once we're through the door, I'm going to grab her and say, "Why don't you let me take a quick look at those injuries?" And because I did bring a first aid kit.
Okay. Ow, this really hurts.
And I'm going to, I don't have any particular skill but I figure I can wrap up with a bandage. Yeah.
That's you can do that. You've got field training, you know how to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, you wrap it up. It's not too difficult. Inside, once again, you have made it. Oh yes, you made it into the club. So let's go back to that. So you're in this club. All manner of musical instruments and musicians dancing with each other. Giant cigarette boxes, serving drinks, and other things. And you see a stage where there's a band performing without people, just the instruments. So in the corner near it is the circle of individuals. This is a fairly big club, so I don't know that you're necessarily going to see this immediately, but I need to know what's happening when you do, so give me a moment. Simon. So, we basically have been chatting, listening to music. It's sort of weird and dissonant, but, so the broadcast says, we can put you, so here is what we are looking at. We can put you in not only something much better than TV or radio, we can put you in everyone's heads. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that sounds like pretty sinister, man, but like, how?
But everyone will know you. Everyone will buy your albums. They can't not. People, you see, you're in music, you know this. People know what they like. Or no, people don't know what they like, but they like what they know. They like what is familiar to them. That is why whenever they call into a radio station, for instance, they keep requesting the same thing over and over again. And why radio stations are made to, disc jockeys are made to play the same things over and over again. But imagine if you're already in place of the thing that people want to be played over and over again. So many royalties, my friend, so many. That is the success story of half the people in here. You too can have this. All you need to do is join the symphony.
So are we talking like a contract or like provisional? Oh.
And he reaches into his pocket.
I don't even have a manager yet.
Ah, well, there are a dime dozen. Most of them are in the cloakroom. We can summon one if you wish. And he, but of course, this is a limited time offer. It runs out at 13. And, you see he unfurls this document. And, again, there are a lot of, like, unnecessary... It's actually written... It's actually written in musical staves.
Okay.
You can read music, though.
Yes.
So you get the gist of it. It's also, of necessity, the language is slightly simplistic. But there are ways of translating essentially music into musical notes into words, that sort of thing. And so you're familiar enough with that you can, if you take a moment, you'll be able to read it. And this contract essentially says that you will receive airtime in the symphony. You'll receive airtime in the minds of a populace not no less than, but not limited to, 1 million individuals in the city slumbering, it says, and no less than 1/10 of the individuals in the Mad City. you'll receive this airtime and accompanying royalties, it says. Accompanying royalty payments. In inspiration. And you are entitled to keep any revenue you make from album sales as a result, which is unheard of in most music contracts when you're signing with a label. And in exchange, you agree to participate in the symphony and aid it in its aims. Its aims are on, further down, and it starts talking about growing the area of the symphony beneath the Mad City, shoring up defenses against the Wax, or against, it'll say shoring up defenses against the Wax King, and essentially helping the symphony to infiltrate more mines. And it's when you're getting to that point in the contract that Sam and Jin will probably figure out where you are in the club.
Sure.
So you see Simon in this in the center of the circle. He's holding this big gold document that he's looking at,
and he's pretty drunk.
I'm starting to think that we've been captured as POWs, and this is all a group hallucination to try and retrieve military data from me.
What? Oh, you made it! Oh, you made it! Yeah!
These are your guests.
Famous!
The broadcast, that weird, looks just like that, a lot like that blobby thing, except it has a shape now, and is wearing a fancy suit complete with silk handkerchief. Stands up as you're watching, and says, "Welcome. There is a place for your guests of Mr. Stanton. There's certainly a place
Who's
for
Mr.
you
Stanton?
Oh yeah, that's me! Yeah! Didn't I send you my SoundCloud?
Honestly, I didn't listen to it.
Aw, man.
What the hell are you doing? What are you doing here?
No, I'm getting signed. I'm signing on to a label. I want to be famous.
With this asshole?
Hey, he's not that bad.
He shot at
know
me.
him.
He shot at me. Where's Dave?
Hey!
Where's Dave? Where's Dave?
Hey! A robot shot at you.
Where's Dave?
To be
He's
fair,
not here, man.
to be fair, that was not me. That was the grinder. Unfortunately, it's one of the Clockwork crew that work with Officer Talk in District 13. They tried.
Oh, unfortunately, someone working for you shot at me.
No, not for me.
No. Someone working for the narcs.
The grinder.
Man.
The grinder had captured us. You allowed us our freedom. And actually,
We're
thank you
basically
very much for
buds
that.
now.
Thank you very much for that, by the way, Miss.
Where's Dave?
Dave.
I don't know where Dave is, man.
And actually, as you're doing that, for a moment, the face changes, and you see Dave for a second. He's like, "Where the fuck?" He's looking around, and you see a couple of hands come up. He says, "Help! Get me out of here!" And then the static goes away.
That Dave. You remember him now?
Oh yeah. He's right there. But no, he's not.
He's imprisoned, and he needs to get out.
I mean, he seems to be doing well for himself.
No, he doesn't. Why do you imprison Dave?
Sometime, I have not imprisoned him. He turned the wrong way, it seems, and found his way into the signal. He shows up.
What does that matter?
That just happens.
Why are you
sometimes.
keeping prisoners here?
Oh, it's much better than they would have in the city slumbering.
Being kept prisoner is never much better. You need to release Dave.
I am doing this Dave a favor. He has nothing but mundanity to return to. Now he is serving the symphony. I hear
Oh, you
no,
know it's,
you're not. You need to release Dave.
Look, you know it's much better. You know, if you really think he's that mundane, he's not going to do you any good. I mean, you have to. He's just taking up space if you keep him around. You know that, right? And I'm using my exhaustion talent to lie to him so that he'll let Dave go.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff I need to describe in a moment, but I will do that in time, because I don't have time to type, I gotta talk. Okay. So, you're using your talent to try to convince the broadcast, who is a boss nightmare, to let Dave go, yes?
That it's in his best interest to let Dave go.
All right. So, since you're not in the broadcast's crosshairs, I'm not going to go up to his recent re-release, so I'm figuring it's like roughly a level 8 nightmare. I'm going to knock that down to 7, since you're not really in their crosshairs right now.
And what can we get if we spend a point of hope? Can we knock that down to a 6?
Doesn't really affect it that way, I believe, but actually, let me double check real quick about hope. 1 coin of hope to remove 1 exhaustion, or to remove a check mark from fight or flight, or to add 1 to the protagonist's discipline pool. So you can use it. You can even wait until after you roll to spend it, but you can spend those 2 coins of hope to give yourself more discipline successes. So I'd recommend, if you want to use it, I'd recommend doing it after you roll.
Okay.
So let me roll pain. Okay, I've got 4 successes. That's what you're trying to beat here.
Okay. So I'm just doing discipline and exhaustion.
Can we add to each other's rolls?
So here's how helping works. Jin is the main protagonist in this scene, or in this exchange. And so you can help somewhat. You just describe what you're doing, and you roll only your discipline dice. Your exhaustion dice and madness dice do not count in this case. So you can help them a little. You do, however, receive the results of whatever the result of the roll is. It will also fall upon you if you choose to help.
Alright, I'm gonna pull out my knife and pull a fighter stance to add to the it's in your best interest to let Dave go.
All right, so showing some muscle. Okay, good. So you would roll your discipline, and that will add to their roll. Your pool is not going to be. It's only considered for successes, which you got 2, so that's good. So you've got 2 so far, and then Jin, you need to make your roll.
Okay. There's a success.
And let's see. For madness, if you're using your lying here, right?
Yeah, that's my exhaustion talent, not my madness.
Oh, okay. All right. And is this I forgot to say if this is a major or minor use of your talent, which is it's fine. We can decide that now.
Okay.
Which let's see, exhaustion. When you let's see. Oh yeah, is this a major or minor use of exhaustion? First of all.
I would expect it's major.
Okay.
But
so
I don't know for sure.
The way that'll work, you would voluntarily increase your exhaustion by 1.
Okay.
And okay, yeah, you didn't have to before. Never mind. Well, okay. You don't have to increase it for minor uses. All right. But I think that didn't go up. But yeah, minor use, you increase your exhaustion by 1, and that means that you character making mages may add their current exhaustion to the number of successes they roll in conflict. So, what is your exhaustion going to be if you up it by 1?
2.
2? Okay. So you'll have 2 successes plus what you roll.
Okay, so that's a total, along with Sam, of 7 successes.
Okay. And no madness dice, I presume?
No madness dice.
Okay. So
And-
7 successes, that's quite a bit. And
Yeah.
let's see, discipline is, you have a 6 in discipline here, and that's currently dominating. A lot of discipline and dominance here. Let me use another coin. Let me use this coin of despair here.
Okay.
You have a 6 and a 4 in that pool, and I have a 5 in there, so I'm going to add it to pain. So I don't get a coin out of it, but that ups hope here. And so here's what we have. Success at cost. So, you're very convincing. And says, and you see that see the broadcast nods and says, "Oh, that makes sense. I will not I will not bar him from leaving the symphony, but I will need something to open the way. A memory, perhaps. Something you are willing to give up.
I'll give up something. I'm gonna share the memory of my morning run, just running along the university and the quiet.
Ah, okay. Your morning run, tell me, is this is like a tool of isolation for you? This is a good thing? This is like something that helps you clear your mind?
Yes.
Okay. You say this as you are... What do you usually do? Do you have like something that that you either wear or use, like in particular while you're doing this? That's
I pair shorts and a tank top
okay.
and running shoes.
As you describe this,
And
what
the
is it?
tank top will probably say Army.
well, as you're describing your morning, you know what your morning run does for you. The tank top, the army tank top, appears in your hand.
Okay.
And he reaches a hand forward. Ah, that will do. You hand it to us, and Dave is yours.
I give it to him.
All right. As you do, once again, you feel lost. You feel as though something important has been forgotten. Your morning run will no longer give you that sense of isolation, that sense of peace that helps you. If you want to do that to escape your demons, you have to find another way, because running will not work anymore.
Okay.
Doing so, you can see there's a pause when the band is when the band stops playing, stops at the end of its song, and there's applause, and the broadcast holds up a hand, and you hear come out of all the speakers, and it says, "Let the way be opened." The band runs off the stage, the curtain parts, and you see Dave stumble out because the curtain parts and there's the static behind it, and Dave stumbles out of it. It's like, "Ah!" and collapses onto the stage.
I'm gonna run to help him up.
You help him up.
I'm watching people around him. I'm watching for, again, attack.
And Dave's like very groggy right now. He's not really fully aware of his surroundings. But as you do so, he says, thanks. And as you do that, Dave just sort of looks at you for a second. And he's like,
Ah!
and as though he's seen something kind of scary, and he sort of darts away back in the direction of Sam and Jin. What's going on? Where am I?
We're just getting out of here. Everything is better now. We're just gonna go back to the campus. Everything's gonna be fine.
You're in a dream, man.
And he leans forward and he says, "What?" And
I'm not
only Sam and Jin really hear this. He says, "What happened? What happened to Simon?"
Well, he drugged our coffee, and I think you should fire him because he's kind of an asshole.
We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, we're going.
All right.
Alright. In that case, I'm going to, particularly since he didn't recognize Simon, that makes me think Simon is a spy, particularly since might have drugged our coffee.
Well,
And-
you noted his reaction, and he seemed to recognize him until he looked him in the face.
I feel like still Simon might have the one to drug our coffee, so I'm gonna look at Simon and say, I'm not saying this out loud, but I'm just, the part about drugging my coffee, I'm explaining my thoughts. I'm gonna look at Simon and say, we're getting out of here. Are you coming or are you staying?
Oh yeah, I'm going.
Alright, we're leaving now. And I start to walk out the door.
All right. So something that, yes, and as you depart, you hear the broadcast say, "Yeah, pleasant to have you. Do hurry back."
Yeah, bite me.
Perhaps we'll take you up on that later.
Perv. Right, let's go. Go.
Better hurry. Clock is striking soon. So you head toward the door, and you see that there is another that coming through the revolving door is the cello that you knocked over and that survived. And at the same time, you're starting to hear reverberating through the walls. This sound comes, this bong, bong, and is continuing. So you can even hear the clock tower down here.
You know, if I was really asleep, that would be my alarm clock, and I'd be waking up. But I don't feel like. I'm just so tired.
We need to keep moving. I don't know what this place is. If there's something happening, I don't want to be trapped in this location with only one exit.
Yeah.
We need to keep moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're tired, but you got this. We need to move.
So how are you dealing with the cello that is coming through the revolving door?
I don't care. I just want to get my people through the door.
Right, but I mean, what physically are you doing right now?
We'll move. I'll tell the cello to move.
Okay, it's on the other side of the glass as it's rotating toward you. It's a rotating door. So,
Is there room for us to also get through the rotating door while the cello's coming through?
you can, you might be able to just slip through. If
All of
you're-
us or just me?
You might be able to get all of you through. I'm going to go ahead and roll pain on that. This will be 2 pain dice. I got 1 success.
Because I want to get everybody else through first.
You got to beat 1 success.
Okay, what am I rolling?
You're rolling your discipline and exhaustion, and if you want, you can also roll madness.
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Are you using your combat talent? Or just...
Sure.
Right.
I mean, that seems reasonable.
Minor use or major use?
Minor.
Okay. So, yes, you got a total of 3 successes then, because of it just turns your exhaustion into successes basically as you roll. And that is it's 2 more than you got. So yeah, you managed to like grab it just at the right moment, push the 3 of you through the door and out to the underside. 4 of you? Oh yeah, that's right.
Dave.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Simon and Dave and Jin and Sam. Okay, yeah, 4. You come through, and on the other side, as the clock is still striking, it's on to its 5th bong. You notice, as you're sort of diving in there's tunnels ahead of you. And where are you heading?
Is there like a niche or a... I'm looking for a place that we can cover, because I don't know what's going to happen at the end of that dong, and I want to get everyone behind cover so that I can stand in front and guard in case there's a raid.
So, looking around, you do notice, strangely, that in the corner of this room, there is a red door that looks very much like the one that you passed through to get in here.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
dive.
this time, I am making sure that I am going through last, because last time we left someone behind, they ran off and got us all in trouble.
Okay.
I'll take lead.
Fair.
Does everyone go through?
I certainly do.
Yes.
All right. So the 3 of you step out as the clock is chiming, and you can just barely, you can still hear the clock chiming on the other side as you dash out through the door. You're back up in the alleyway that you entered from. The door slams shut behind you, and just faintly, as you hear the clock chime 13, the door disappears. And you have returned to the city slumbering.
Okay. Okay.
What did you put in our coffee?
Milk, cream.
What else?
Oh, that's it, man.
Dave, what happened?
I don't know. I came out and it's like something grabbed me, and then it was all static. I don't know what was going on. And he just sort of looks around. He's like, something wrong with you. And he points at Simon. He's like, something's wrong.
What's wrong with him?
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta think. I gotta go.
Does he not look the same?
He seems to look the same. But
Is
Dave,
he wearing the same clothing, same haircut?
does Simon look the same?
Yeah, probably. He would have changed if he had the opportunity to, but it didn't seem like there was anywhere in the club.
No, I mean
Not
there are. I mean it's not really so much right then. So no, you probably
Yeah.
wearing the
He's
same
probably the same.
Okay. So Dave is like, I don't know. I gotta rest. Listen, I'm shutting the coffee house down for the night. I gotta figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drink something. And he turns and he walks back to the coffee house. And I think that is where we're going to bring this to a close.
Huzzah!
So,
Okay.
Before, however, we do anything else, I do just want to ask briefly, as this is a one-shot, for a little coda, a little, to put a book, to put a book into this. I'm going to ask each of you, ultimately, what happens to your characters as we go into the future, and what your character's fate, each of your character's fates is. And I'm going to go around starting with, I'm going to go around on my screen clockwise, and I will this time start with James. So, James, what happens to Jin?
Jin, comes to a point in her life where she has to, she hits a point where she might easily burn out and end up dropping out of school, but thankfully, she's come to a point where she has a lot of other friends. She's gotten a lot more interactive since that really weird night because she knows she has to start depending on other people. And they managed to get her to just sort of slow down for a little bit. And, you know, after a while, the anxiety and all the pressure begins to fade. And even though that night was really weird, things, you know, become, oh yeah, he drugged me, you know, it was weird, there was hallucinations, it's probably nothing big. And years later, you know, there's that news article about her running for public office.
Excellent. And Chris, what happens to Sam?
I think she is going to check in with her VA doctor and go on to some heavy core meds, antipsychotic meds, because she feels like she may be having some mental issues. That may even drop out of school for the semester to, you know, seek the hospital, seek treatment. She all blames it on either being, she's blaming it on being drugged, basically. And so that's just what in her head is what happened.
Okay. So she on medication happily for quite a while, or perhaps not so happily. We find sooner or later. Finally, okay, what happens to Simon?
Simon decides to, you know, fuck the rules. I'm my own man. You know, it's my radio station. I'm gonna play my music.
Yeah.
And you know, when he does, the response is massive. Like, all of the campus are like, yeah, man. And it catapults him to success. Like, he gets a local following in the college, starts playing, you know, shows in the city, and, you know, within a couple of years, yeah, he's famous. And he did it all by himself, and doesn't have it to owe to anything like magical contracts in Mad Cities.
No,
obviously.
Not
at all.
He does occasionally disappear from time to time, though.
Oh yeah, for like a night. Yeah.
And every now and then, when he comes back, maybe sometimes he's got like a little bit of residue of wax under his fingernails.
Yeah, and like every now and then he like a cello with him or something.
Also,
those poor cellos.
Yes.
Yeah, look at those cellos. They were perfectly nice.
They're just doing their jobs.
Look, just following orders doesn't cut it, buddy.
That's
They're not
true.
even following orders. They were just bouncers. You just walked up and you hit a bouncer in the face and you killed another one.
Well, folks, thank you so much for playing Don't Rest Your Head.
Thank you for running.
That is our. That's pretty much going to be it for this evening. And I'm going to go around once more and ask folks to basically. I had a good time with it, but I'm going to ask folks to tell me sort of how they're feeling at the end of the game, what they thought of the game, and where people can find you if they so desire. And I think I will. Let's see. Going on, I will start. Let's start this time with Lokio. How are you doing? What did you think of the game?
I'm doing really well. I really like the game. I'm very excited. While we were playing, I went and bought like everything they had off of DriveThru.
Awesome.
Because the game is $15. There's a $15 for like a scenario, and then like there's an expansion for it's all $5. I spent $15 total. So the game, the expansion, and a scenario was $15. So
Nice.
I really dig the system. I'm a little disappointed that we were so disciplined that every single roll.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah,
It was.
and discipline prevails. So you all do a good job, and nothing bad happens.
Yeah, that was so.
I don't
unlike
know
fucking
how that
game.
happened.
Yeah.
We made like 8 rolls, and like it went bad once.
Yeah.
So I really would have liked to see this game. What happens when you have like some sort of death spiral?
Yes.
That's what the game is designed for. Is like things go bad and then it goes worse because you get less discipline. But no, I really liked this. I would be excited to play like a long-term game. It was really, really kind of neat. I'm wondering if, what it would have been like with different characters. So no, I'm really excited about revisiting this in the future.
Awesome. And where can folks find you online?
I have a website that is just a basic ass WordPress, LokiGames.com. I'm at Lokio on Twitter. And yeah, I have almost no social media presence except for a tweet every year. But I have a game coming out in 2019, so I will probably be a lot more active then.
Cool. Awesome. Well, definitely, folks, look out for that. And James, how are you doing? What do you think of the game? And where can folks find you?
I'm doing just great. The game, my only negativity to it is the fact that it took us a long time to get all our stuff ready and get going and the like.
Yeah.
It would have been nice, and I think part of that is just, obviously we're all new to it, and it's a one shot, so it's not like, in other games where you have your session 0, you have your character building, and then you can say, well, we might not get a lot done today, but 2 weeks from now when we play again, we'll have a full session. But I love the atmosphere. I love the kind of basic weirdness of it. I love that we all kind of took very different directions with the builds of our characters. As for where I can be found, a couple of years back I put out a novel called Necropolis, which you can find on Amazon. I'm currently
And a sequel is coming out.
Yes, right? I'm currently working on the second draft of the sequel, and so I'll be out again in the near future, I hope.
Awesome. Excellent. And also as to the slow, that a lot of that was on me because it's been a while since I've run this game. Also, anytime that I'm noticing the kickoff of these one shots, it always takes a bit longer as I try to get all the technical aspects together, and so I am sorry for that. It's one of those things that's sooner or later I'll have the process fully down, but I haven't quite been streaming long enough yet to have it really fully ingrained yet, I think, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
A work in progress,
Indeed. And finally, Chris, how are you doing? What do you think of the game, and where can folks find you?
I'm doing well. I really enjoyed this game. This was a lot of fun. I like these one-shots. Like, this is my second time doing an online game with you, and I'm really liking the format with the Roll20, and I think it's a lot of fun. So, you can find me on Twitter at cfgregory, or just at cfgregory. The only thing I'm going to push is my husband's lead designer, a new game that they are currently in alpha, and they're going to be starting a indie Fund Me campaign starting tomorrow, I think it is. So if anyone is interested, it is the first game coming out that deals with blockchain, where you can actually earn. It's a real-time strategy, and you can actually earn cryptocurrency. Read in, yeah. So it's a really cool. For more info on that, just go to hashrush.com. It's hash, H-A-S-H, rush, rush.com. That would be the only thing, just because that's already in alpha. They do mention on the site about Kickstarter, but then there was some issues with the Kickstarter because apparently they weren't supposed to offer cryptocurrency as a reward for so they've had to reorganize and go with it would have been nice if Kickstarter had mentioned that, but you know.
Right. I hear you.
Unfortunately, when you're more on the breaking edge of technology, particularly with cryptocurrency companies, what's allowed and what's not allowed is not always clear. So, but yeah, hashrush.com, check it out. And like I said, they're going to have a IndieGoMe or whatever. One of the funding companies is going to have a campaign coming out where they don't offer the cryptocurrency because that's apparently was the issue. So,
okay.
I'm excited. Yeah,
All right,
it's already
cool.
in alpha. So.
Awesome. That's great. Very cool. And very much looking forward to that. Well,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. I had a really good time. It's been a while since I've had a chance to run Don't Rest Your Head, and I miss it quite a lot. One day, perhaps there shall be a campaign. One day. But in the meantime, we've got a couple more one-shots coming your way, so we're going to do that. I really like getting into it. I was a little uncertain at first, but because I wasn't sure. This is something I got to make up a lot of stuff at a whole cloth. But then, just getting into it, it's like riding a bicycle, or it's still there. It's still there. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed the getting to play with different musical instruments and what have you. And I wondered what direction things were going to lean in, and it was nice getting to see how things turned out.
I'm gonna add one last thing to the Hash Rush thing. If you watch the trailer, the voice may sound very familiar, as it was Jimbo who did the voice work on it.
Yep.
So.
I must go and listen to that trailer then and see if
Yes.
we can hear that.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry. One last thing. Like I said, yeah. You like
we
Jim's
go.
voice? Hear more of it.
Yes, the other Jim, not this Jim.
Yes.
Well,
The
listen
one
to
you
that,
see
Jim.
up there, the one that's over there where I'm pointing right now, that one. So thank you all so much. This is for coming and playing this. I had a blast, and I love to see what you did with the characters. My thing is finished. There it is. My OBS is finished. There it is. It's back. Okay, good. I was worried for a moment. But really enjoyed seeing what you did with your characters. I am looking forward to the other sessions of this that I'll be running. Just like I said, I missed it. I missed it terribly.
Thank you, Jim, for running
you're
it.
most welcome.
Yeah,
You're most welcome.
yeah.
It was great. Thank you so much.
Seriously, I love playing the stuff you run, man.
Yay! Thank you so much. And it'd been a while. It'd been a while too. So, as far as my stuff, you can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. Here on Twitch, on Tuesday evenings, I'm on Off the Table playing Urban Shadows, and so you can look there. And if you wish to see me as a player, I get to play a doctor running a clinic in that who's treats everyone, supernaturals included, and is starting to pay for that quite a lot. So we can see that downward spiral coming. On Tuesday nights, once again on Friday afternoons and Saturday mornings, doing video games. We are currently working on the schedule for the Cold Ruins of Last Life. We had to miss another session, so we're trying to figure out kind of when we're going to put the next one. We're also not going to be able to do it on the 20th, which one it would ordinarily have been for the next session, because there's a con also going on that Matthias is going to be at. So we'll have to figure that out. And so I will get back to you on that. But a week from today, there will be more Don't Rest Your Head. We will continue that in the next 2 weeks, and then after we'll be doing the second part of the Still Waters Run Deep, run by Melissa. She will come back to run that 1-2 shot in Rosette Dice. So look forward to that at the end of the month. Also, since James mentioned his book, I should also mention I have a short story out. Should folks want to go check it out on Amazon, it's available on Kindle. It's called Titanic Jocularity. I can't speak. Titanic Jocularity. And it's basically about Restoration era nobles flying wooden ships through space. It's delightfully bonkers. So feel free to go and check that out if you so desire. Thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you all of a sudden. Take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye.